What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another installment here of Honest and Uneducated. I am Rob Bifo, and today we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We got the first Supergirl. We got Supergirl casting in general for the DCEU, but coming in the Flash movie, we got some rumors for blank and Sue Storm. We got Sue Storm rumors for the upcoming MCU version of Fantastic Four. Ezra Bridger may be joining the new Disney Plus Star Wars universe amongst Ahsoka, Tano, and all the new Mandalorian and all that good stuff. But to help me break all this stuff down is none other than Rik Metz himself. How you doing today, Rik?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good, man. We get like I said,
exciting
I'm excited
news.
to get into this. Yeah. Not to mention, we forgot to mention, we got the WandaVision spoiler discussion, Mortal Kombat as well. You know,
yeah.
So this is gonna be good. We might need a little extra help with it all, though. So we do have John Knight here as well. How you doing today, John?
Good, man. We're kind of getting past snowpocalypse this week. Hope everybody out there is doing okay. You know, survived okay. It's been pretty hairy in some parts of the country, it sounds like.
Right.
Tell me about it.
It's kind of an American-centric thing to say. If you're in other parts of the world, I hope you're doing all right too. Although I'm not real caught up on your weather situation. Sorry.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, we're up in Ohio, so we're used to the snow. But then, like Texas, however, obviously was not used to the snow. And they did not have the infrastructure for that.
They did not know what to do down there.
No. Well, they weren't designed for
it.
No. It was a bad time. Yeah. A lot of people are without food and water. It's not a good situation. Not a good situation. I was just annoyed that we had snow. I was annoyed that we had so much, and I'd go out and shovel, and then the shit would just come back down, so I'd have to shovel again. It was like an endless cycle of like, how long do I get the sidewalk or not?
Well,
like,
it's not only that. It's been so cold, it hasn't melted, so it's just everywhere. It's just
sitting there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, not too long ago, we said like, I don't know, we haven't had any snow like more than an inch in like 10 years, it seems like.
Now we've got more than we know what to do with.
Yeah, now there's over a foot, pretty much. So
yeah.
But nevertheless, don't forget, guys, before we get into this, you can submit topics and questions to the show by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. But with that down, let's move into our first topic here. And the first topic today is none other than the Flash movie news. So for the longest time, not only did we get the Supergirl announcement, but I believe, John, you looked it up before. It was 2014, if I'm not mistaken, when Ezra Miller was actually announced to be playing the Flash for the DC, like literally 7 years ago. But now, I mean, it's gone through like 7 directors. It feels like just as many writers. Who the hell knows? But it's finally being made. Andy Muschietti, the 5th or 6th director, 7th something, to come on and actually sign up for this movie. Director of It and It 2. He's been the longest person to stay on it thus far, and he's definitely given. He was there for the Fandom event, given the information that Keaton and Affleck are returning, and then just the other day dropped the news about the Supergirl casting. So not only are we going to have Batman, plural, in the movie, now Supergirl is going to be appearing in the movie, and he also dropped this picture of him actually outside of a studio. This movie is actually happening. Like, it's actually happening. I don't buy it though, because they're not. This is like a drone cam. This is not lights, camera, action. So I don't know, but it's finally happening. This is the closest anybody's been to it happening.
This movie is so secretive that they can't even give you a picture from inside the studio. They have to give you a shot from outside. That's how secretive and big this movie is going to be. It's going to reset the entire DCEU and get it on the same playing field as the MCU.
Hopefully, yeah.
That's kind of the dream.
It's the dream. I have no faith. I have no faith in what I just said.
No, yeah.
Big shoes to fill.
I just hope they make a good effing movie. I mean,
yeah.
At this point, DC is so hit or miss. Like, just please let the movie actually be good.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all we can really ask for, man. Is that's all, like Aquaman was good fun. Like, I've only watched it once. I've never felt the need to go back and watch it again. It's honestly one of my least favorite DC movies, but it was still a good movie.
Very colorful.
I've liked all the DC movies to an extent, though, so I'm not like, I don't know if I'm the best person to ask.
I feel like you're a little biased on that, though. You just love
I like
DC.
DC
Not that there's
stuff.
anything wrong with that, but
I just like DC stuff. But I've liked the Zack Snyder movies. Like, half the people out there don't, you know? Like, I've liked them all. I didn't really care for Suicide Squad, but I mean, no one else really did either. So, like,
true.
like I thought Aquaman was good. I don't know. I thought Shazam and Wonder Woman were better, but that was really about.
Yeah, I love Shazam and Wonder Woman. Aquaman was fine. Suicide Squad was fine. I put Aquaman and Suicide Squad kind of in the same boat. I guess pun intended. And I put Aquaman maybe a little. Aquaman seemed to have a little more heart to it than Suicide Squad, so I maybe put it a little bit higher. But both of them I felt like could have been executed a little bit better. You know. That being said, you know, who am I to talk? Where's my movie? How many movies I made? But still, I mean, from a fan's perspective, I just didn't feel like they were as good as I had hoped they were going to be.
Yeah, I mean, because all the movies, they start with so much potential. Because that's the thing, all of us fans know the potential that all these characters have. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's tons of source material, whether be it from the comics, graphic novels, animations, doesn't matter. Like, we know the potential. And it's not easy to make a movie in general, let alone a big comic book movie and please the audience and all that stuff. And that's why, like you said, I'm just hoping for a good movie. Like, because it's hard to make a good movie, especially with, you know, given the track record and given we're 7 years in the making with this Flash movie, and they do have a good director attached to it, so that has me excited. Like, I liked it and it too. I thought it was
Andy
a lot better.
Muschietti's a good director.
Yeah, he's good. He's definitely good. I've liked everything he's come out and announced himself, like the Batman stuff that's happening in the movie, the Supergirl stuff now. Although I don't know why he has Henry's suit and not Henry, Warner Brothers. What the hell's going on?
Or is that
with
the Supergirl suit? Or is that just
No, that's totally Henry's suit.
Yeah, that's the Man of Steel, Zack Snyder version.
Yeah, and I don't mean him just have. I'm sure he has his own. I mean, as he says, his cape's in the closet, right? I mean, you're casting Supergirl, but we still don't have Man of Steel 2. Okay, that's what I'm upset about. Like,
write a complaint letter.
We don't even have confirmation that Henry's coming back to play Superman again in the DCEU.
Exactly.
I mean, let alone a Man of Steel 2. We don't have confirmation that he's going to show up in any of these other movies. I mean, we got confirmation that Ben's coming back to play Batman, but not Henry as Superman. I mean, Henry is the best casting they've done for the entire DCEU, and
100%.
that's the one you can't lock up, that you can't get done. You can't get locked back in for at least one, if not multiple more movies.
Henry's a busy guy, but I mean, at the same time, like, he is Superman.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
definitely,
dude. That's the thing. Like with him, even though like it's a 50-50 split, we'll say, of people who like Man of Steel and like BVS, the people from the most part, when I see anybody trashing on Man of Steel, which you're crazy if you do, but if you do, I bet you're probably like, yeah, that movie sucks, but he's a pretty good Superman.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what happens like 9 times out of 10. I hear that all the time. It's like they didn't like the movie, but they like him as Superman.
Yeah, he's as good as the character.
Yeah. Well, he's a great.
Yeah,
Superman.
it's the story around the character, but his portrayal. I mean, everybody enjoys his portrayal of the character. Like and you just see like how hard. Look over the years. Look at how hard they got it right with Christopher Reeve for that era, and then they tried to bring Brandon Routh in to kind of duplicate what Christopher Reeve had, and didn't really work exactly that great. And it's just hard to cast that role. There's a mix of grace and power that you have to have with that character, and it's just hard to find actors that can toe that line, embody both those characteristics. And I think Henry does it to a T, and I don't know why. I mean, if they don't bring him back, like, your chances of finding somebody else to play that role as well are slim to none, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't think. I'm sure there's somebody out there. There's millions of good actors, but when I think of Superman, like 9 times out of 10, like I picture Henry Cavill's face.
Yeah,
like he's almost like the first thing that pops into my head. Like if I'm if Superman's just brought up in general, like because for the longest time it used to be for me anyway, like animated Superman, like the Batman anime series, Superman the anime series. What's his name? Bruce Timm. The Bruce Timm animation of Superman was always like what popped into my head when I thought of Superman. But now it's Henry. Like, but what do you guys think about this? Because this is also kind of a cool thing for the Supergirl aspect. Is I love that a lot of the headlines are writing with it, like as they're depicting, like the big headline is first ever Latina Supergirl.
Yeah,
it's like really the first Supergirl in a film to begin with.
True.
Which I think is the cool
Well,
thing.
besides Helen Slater back in the 80s with the one-off Supergirl film.
Oh, I forgot.
There's a one-off Supergirl film.
There's a one-off Supergirl film from the 80s, and it was Helen Slater, I believe, that played her.
Like a thing.
And they tried to capitalize on the success of the Christopher Reeve Superman film franchise by starting a Supergirl film franchise, and it was a pretty bad movie. Not due to her.
This.
Yeah, this was not had nothing wrong with her portrayal of the character. Just the movie, the entire movie around it. Again, the story was not great, and so that was the only time we've seen Supergirl on the big screen. I'm trying to think if I don't think she's appeared in any other movies since then. Of course, we've got the Supergirl Melissa Benoit portrayal on the CW, which I love. And I think
it was in Smallville too.
That's correct. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But big screen, I forgot this thing existed.
But again, Smallville was one of those too, where like they never had them in costume. Like they always had those costumes that kind of hinted at who they were and stuff. So while we did get an actor portraying Kara Zor-El, we never got her in the full costume. I'm assuming, especially since he showed the costume, that this new casting she'll be in costume. The other thing I found interesting was, you're right, all the news outlets and stuff are saying like first Latina Superman and stuff, and like I understand the impact or the importance of casting a person of color, a different nationality in the role, but I also think it's interesting because I mean she's Kryptonian. Superman's Kryptonian. Exactly. So like it's exactly. I love the idea that they're expanding outside the bounds of, just a Caucasian woman as Superman, because, who's to say what Krypton, the makeup of Krypton is, and how their demographics break down and stuff. And so, it's totally plausible that you'd have somebody with a darker skin tone or something else be Kal-El's cousin and be in the movie. So I really thought that was a cool. It caught me off guard because I wouldn't have expected. Although the announcement itself caught me off guard, I hadn't heard anything about Supergirl being in this movie.
Yeah, so, that's for sure.
But when I got to thinking about it, I was like, that's actually kind of cool. It's like a clever way to kind of play with people's expectations there. So I'm looking forward to see what they have to do with it.
Yeah, I think that's cool. And I mean, like you said, that there's no written rule of like the ethnicity. I mean, they're Kryptonian, like you said, that's their ethnicity. Yep. And it's good for the Latina community to have somebody represent them in such a prominent role, I think, which is cool. So
definitely.
Your cam froze, John.
I think it's a good casting, but other than having like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, American woman player.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's the thing. It's great that they're expanding the role. I'm just it doesn't matter. Like it's great for like them to be included. It's people out there who like have a problem with it, where I'm saying it doesn't matter because like you were saying, dude, like Superman is not white. Like no. He's Kryptonian. He looks white.
He's got a Caucasian complexion.
Like, he's been drawn to look white, but he's not actually white. Like technically speaking, he's an alien.
He's not Caucasian. Yeah.
He's an alien. He's not a Caucasian American or anything. He's
not a European.
No European.
He could look like anything. And then there's the one. And then the
Jor-El didn't come from Germany or England.
Yeah, exactly. There's the what was it? The Max Landis run that didn't he have Kryptonians looking like these crazy like alien like. They look crazy as hell. They looked like weird monster things, and like all they did was kind of transformer themselves. Like they would replicate the existing
to look like a human.
Yeah. So when a Kryptonian came to Earth, it scans the species there, and that's what it looked like.
Made him blend.
So it was kind of like a shape-shifting thing, but it was like done since the way he described it is like I think it's a permanent thing once it does it the one time, but like they start off with this like really weird looking form. That's not how
That
it
would make
always is. That's
sense.
just Max Landis what he was saying for his Kryptonians and stuff. But nevertheless, I am not familiar with this girl's work, but she looked real excited, and I can understand why.
Was she surprised in that live stream about it?
Yeah,
Yeah. that's
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
like
it's
her
a very
getting the-
touching
yeah.
clip that they put up. I mean, like, you want to see somebody experience a moment of like pure joy, like that was it right there.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
which, as a fan of the comic books and stuff, like you can't ask for more. You can't ask for more than somebody that is genuinely excited to play the role that they've been cast to play. Like you see some of these castings, and I don't want to harp on the guy because I actually think he did a good job. I have my issues with his movie but like Ben Affleck, like I think Ben Affleck wanted to be Batman to an extent, but like when I see him go on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever and say, "Yeah, my kids really, I thought it'd be really cool for my kids to see me play Batman on the big screen." It's like, all right, I mean that's a cool reason. Like I want to do things that my kid would think I was cool doing too, but like I want somebody that has that passion, has that
because you
drive.
Ben Affleck
Exactly,
is a
like-
huge Batman fan, though. He has a bat cave like built into his house.
What?
True, and like
He's a
I-
big Batman fan. I think
He's
he
a
just
big
got
comic
fed the
fan.
fuck
He-
up with Warner Brothers.
Well, he's
Yeah,
a much more
okay,
prominent
well-
actor.
But I can't blame him for that.
I mean, he did Daredevil because he was a big comic book guy. Like
Yeah.
I don't doubt his comic book card. Like he's got his comic book card. I agree with that. I'm just saying, like his reaction or his rationale for why he's playing the character didn't quite match. And maybe it was different. Maybe when he got asked, maybe he was more excited than he appears in an interview, months, weeks later, after he's already gone through all the, headaches of actually getting cast and doing fittings and stuff. So maybe that dulled some of the shine off of his. But I'm just saying, like, I like seeing that person that has that amount of passion and enthusiasm for what they're about to do.
Yeah, for
With
sure.
Ben Affleck, though, I mean, he's such a prominent actor. To him, it's like, cool, yeah, I'm playing Batman, but it's not like, this girl who it's like, holy shit, I'm playing Supergirl. Like she doesn't have that same kind of line of work that Ben Affleck does. So this is a big deal, I'm sure, to her.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
if you look at her filmography, I mean, she only goes back to 2017, like
Yeah.
at least anything credited. So I mean, this is huge for her. I mean, this would be huge
Yeah.
for anybody, but this is like especially huge for her, given the fact that like very early in her career and she's really young.
Yeah.
So like, hopefully, it's a good movie, so it boosts her career if she's talented. Like I said, I'm not familiar with her work, so like she could be
Well,
the greatest, she could be the worst. I have no idea, but.
And I hope this isn't a one-off. I hope this isn't like they brought her on to play this character just in this movie and there are no plans to do anything else with her going forward. Like I hope that she is, part of a broader DCEU plan. Or I don't know why we even call it the DCEU anymore because they've broken it apart so much. It doesn't. I guess I just don't know what else to call it. But anyway, I hope that DC has plans to use her in some other fashion. If not her own movie, then maybe in a Man of Steel. I mean, how although introducing her in Flash would then kind of mute her involvement in Man of Steel, but it would be so cool to see like Henry established as Superman after the events of Justice League, and have Man of Steel 2 and have her arrive as his cousin and see him navigate the world with this new Kryptonian. That would be really cool.
It'd be
That
cool.
would be cool.
Anyway,
That'd be
I'm
cool
coming
for
up with
Man
my
of
own
Steel
story on the
3.
fly here. We can
Yeah,
get back
well,
to
that's
the
Man
topic.
of Steel 3, okay? We
Sure.
need Man of Steel
Perfect.
2. I need Henry to have his movie. Then he can do whatever the hell he wants. He can help Supergirl out. But speaking of which, DC was looking at like a while ago, they were trying to get a Batwoman or a Batgirl rather, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon Batgirl movie made. And they were trying to get a Nightwing movie made with Chris McKay. And I think Joss Whedon was brought on to do Batgirl, which that's probably not going to happen at all anymore.
He left that project years ago. Like I think just shortly after Justice League, he left Batgirl.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they
Probably a
might
good
have
thing.
had a Supergirl in development too at that point. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like maybe they were tossing around ideas for Supergirl and Andy Muschietti.
Sure.
had an idea for it, and they were like, "Yeah, do it." We had a plan
Yeah.
for it anyway, so like just introduce it, you cast it, do whatever.
I'm personally cool with Joss Whedon not having any involvement, but it's just me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are at this point, but
Yeah.
like, which is a shame because he was a damn good director. I'll give him that.
Was.
Yeah.
Well, he is a
Ye-
damn good director. Like, I mean,
Well,
he
yeah, I mean,
it doesn't change like that he might be a dick, but like he's a
It
damn
was-
good
yeah.
director.
yeah. Somebody on one of the social media posts I follow said something about like they have a hard time, going back and watching his shows and stuff, and because of this, and anything that he's been involved with now has his taint on it, and I understand that initial reaction, or I understand that feeling about anything that has his name on it. But I also think people, and this is obviously off topic, but since we got on the topic, I think people, hopefully those of you out there that have enjoyed things like Buffy and Angel and Firefly and the Avengers movies and these other Dollhouse, I hope you can keep in mind that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people whose work and sweat and tears went into making those things, and there are tons of even the actors and actresses who so supposedly had a tough time working with Joss, to put it lightly. Supposedly, they put their work and effort into those shows, and I don't think that those shows are diminished in any way just because he's associated with them, because all those people deserve to have their work celebrated. You should be able to still watch Charisma Carpenter portray Cordelia Chase and Angel and Buffy and enjoy her performance. If nothing else, in spite of what she went through with Joss Whedon, to kind of honor what she actually did. Personally, I think Charisma Carpenter's character arc in Angel was one of the best character arcs in a TV series for that I've ever seen. Her transformation from the kind of ditzy cheerleader-esque person coming out of Buffy to a real full-fledged character and integral part of that Angel show was just phenomenal. And that was all in charisma. I mean, yeah, the words and the story were put on page, but it was her portrayal that really pulled that story together. And so I think it's important that people realize, like, yeah, I understand the idea, the feeling that those things are somehow tainted, but I encourage people to look at it from the side of, look at all the other people whose work went into those, and how much, of a disservice it is to just kind of wash those away and feel like those don't matter, because then you're also washing away all those other people's involvement.
He's a small piece of a large puzzle.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Very well said. Very well said. Because there's really no wrong or not. There's no right way to look at it. Like, I understand if people like don't have that ability to separate the art from the artist. I typically can. I more or less the way it works in my mind is like it's more difficult for me to want to watch anything new. Like if Joss Whedon got hired to do a movie right now, I probably would be less inclined to like do anything with that one. But the things that have already been done,
let them be done.
they're already been done. I've already experienced it, so it's not really. You can't retroactively taint something in my
especially
head,
if you
know what I
like
mean?
it,
That's what I'm
without
saying,
knowing
like,
that. It's like
not that it's like, and that might be I don't think there really is a right or wrong way of looking at it. That's just how my head kind of works with it. Like new stuff, probably not, but old stuff, I can go watch Avengers and not be like, just crying through it because I'm like mad and stuff. Like I'll think about the Avengers and that's it.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is you look at like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Joss Whedon did the story for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie with Kristen Swanson, I think. Christy Swanson, I can't remember her name. There was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie that came out. It had Matthew Perry in it from 90210. It bombed. It did terrible. And then Joss reworked the story, but it was basically the same premise, and brought it to the WB network, where it obviously blew up and became huge with Sarah Michelle Gellar. But those are both kind of the same concept coming from the same person. But when you have other people involved and you have the work and of other people, it shows how much those other people's influence have on that story and the resulting product that came from it. So it's not all Joss Whedon's thing, and that's why I think it's
Mhm.
important that people still be able to enjoy those.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And it was Christy Swanson.
Yeah,
Christy
That
Swanson and Donald Sutherland were in that
the
film.
movie was
that's
old though,
right.
wasn't it? Like from the 80s?
Late early
1992.
90s,
Okay.
mid 90s.
Yeah.
1992, according
Yeah.
to the Google at least. So, but guys, what do you think about this? Do you think the Flash movie is actually going to get made here? Because, like I said, all we got so far, like I'm just saying, is a picture outside of what looks like a studio. Could be a big garage, could be a big warehouse. I don't, I, I don't see lights and cameras in yet, so I'm not gonna say any. I'm hoping it's actually getting made at this point because I do want to see the movie, and I've been super intrigued ever since the Batman news, really more than anything. I mean, I'm a Batman guy, so you bring Ben Affleck back, my favorite Batman, and then Keaton back, hopefully for Batman Beyond. I'm pretty excited. You sign me up. Now we got Supergirl in there. This is all good news. So guys, let us know what you think down in the comment section below, and let us know, are you still comfortable watching older Joss Whedon movies and just not newer ones? You know, are you able to separate the art from the artist in that way, kind of like I am, or you just write it all off in general? Because I think John articulated that very well. I mean, think of the Avengers. Thousands of people worked on that movie other than Joss Whedon. So is it even like kind of morally right to write the whole movie off at that point? Because you're writing off thousands of people's other, their work too. So it's an interesting question. Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic here brings us to the galaxy far, far away. No, really though, it is a Star Wars story here. We have some potential. It's not confirmed, but it's rumored from a couple credible sources, or kind of coming in, that the Ezra Bridger character from Star Wars Rebels may be making a live action appearance in the Ahsoka Tano show in the form of Mena Massoud, who would be most familiar with him in the recent Aladdin Disney live action movie, which I thought he did a damn good job in. I thought he was good, and I think he'd be a great fit for him, in all honesty. Like, I think this would be a great casting if this is actually true. What are you guys thinking about this so far? Do you think Ezra even should show up? Because I feel like a lot of people kind of thought that he would already. Like, it made sense for him to show up. People were speculating that he would have been the Jedi to come and save Grogu at the end and answer that call. I think him and Cal Kestis were probably the number two. I think I even mentioned those two as possibilities at one point. Luke Skywalker being the most obvious, but no one thought it was going to happen. But
No, gosh, that was like the last thing I expected.
yeah, but here we are.
I'm all in though. I mean, I liked Ezra as a character. Rebels was good. So, and in terms of looks, like it's pretty spot on, I think. So
It is.
yeah,
I think it'd be
minus those blue eyes.
Yeah, those blue eyes. Yeah, Rick was like, "Well, they're just gonna have to give him blue contacts." It was like, he didn't need to have blue eyes, dude. Like, of all the things,
I just think it's like one of his most striking features.
I was like, yeah. Next, you're gonna say that he has to be animated too, right? Like,
They just drop the animated one in.
right.
But
Yeah. What do you think, John? You think this is gonna happen? You think he'll show up in here? Or you never watched Rebels, did you?
I was about to say, man, like if they do, whatever, like awesome. Like I'm gonna leave the judgment on this one to the experts, because I haven't watched Rebels. Like I'm actually trying. Not. I'm gonna say trying because it has nothing to do with the quality of the show. I'm trying to make my way through Clone Wars now, and then I'm hoping once I eventually finish that, I'll be able to go into Rebels. But there's so much content out there right now that I'm trying to consume. In addition to the video games that I play and stuff, like I have a hard time going back and catching up on older stuff. And I never watched Clone Wars, so I'm trying to get through Clone Wars so that I can get to Rebels, so that I can get caught up with these characters. But he looked pretty cool. Like good, yeah, that'd be cool.
I like one of the cool features was in Rebels. One of his lightsabers was also a blaster.
Rick, can you see my other screen?
All I see is the three of us.
No, because I'm looking up like a good picture of it, and I was going to say I hope they don't have this, but then I was thinking he's not gonna have it because this would be later in his life, and like in that picture,
it's an interesting
where he
concept.
has the normal saber.
I'm just telepathic. I mean,
no, but this thing looks ridiculous. Like, look at this thing.
it is
Like, it's insanely big. There's this dude. this dude did a 3D printed one of these, and he made it to where it could be used with I think the kyber crystals in the lightsabers from Galaxy's Edge, if I'm not mistaken. But this thing is literally mass. It's like this, it's like that big. It's
hanging a shoebox off your waist or something.
It's as big as both of my sabers, but imagine it being a rectangle. Yeah. And it's how are you supposed to wield this? It's just so. It is a cool concept though, because you can just be like pew 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 pew,
like you can shoot and deflect.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I just think the design was left a little bit, on the table there.
Wouldn't translate well to live action.
They could have made the design a little bit more appealing, but I think it was a cool little idea, especially something a kid would do.
The saber inside looks cool.
Hey, the saber inside just looks like Luke's, a very to Luke's ROTJ and Obi's and A New Hope kind of thing. That's what it looks like.
It's funny. For the longest time, I had no idea that Obi-Wan had the that looking lightsaber until I really paid attention. I was like, well, son of a bitch.
Yeah. It looks very similar to Luke's. It's just the activation button's on the bottom as opposed to the top.
Yeah.
I don't know why it'd be down there, but that's where it was.
So a nice little tribute to Obi-Wan.
Yeah, in some ways. You can consider it that. Maybe that is where he got the design from.
Dude, that saber was sick.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely cooler than the typical Graflex looking one. I think the Graflex one's just looking
it's boring.
Yeah, it's boring, and I don't really see how feasibly it is to grip. They're awkward. Because they're nice and slim up on the top, but then those rubber grips on the bottom protrude out so far, and I don't know, it just never made sense to me. I don't understand. I mean, some of them look cool, and it's cool aesthetically if you just want a Vader. Vader is the coolest looking Graflex.
It's cool that it was a Graflex, the actual flash holder thing.
Yeah.
But
it only looks like that because they were cheap.
Well, there's a company, you can buy those, and they're extremely expensive now, OG Graflex flash holders.
Yeah.
There's a company you can send them to, and they'll actually make it into a functioning NeoPixel lightsaber.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Not to say that the Graflex themselves were cheap. It's because George Lucas and the people making Star Wars back in the '77, they were cheap. They had those laying around. And it was well, let's throw this together and make it look like a thing.
Like a laser sword.
Yeah, we can use this. I'll tell you what. But I'm excited for this though. Honestly, I think this will be good casting. So, guys,
where does he show?
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I
was gonna ask where does he show up? Which show are we thinking?
Oh, I would say Ahsoka would make some most sense.
I have a theory though too. I think he's gonna make his introduction in Obi-Wan, even if it's for one scene like they did in Rebels.
Why Obi-Wan though?
Because Darth Maul goes to see on Tatooine Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's looking over Ezra, kind of mentoring him, and that's when Maul dies. And maybe you get the introduction, here's Ezra. You'll see him over at Ahsoka.
Was he looking over him during that time frame?
They were sitting around the fire when Maul showed up.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that whole arc. I only watched the scene of Darth Maul getting killed like a little bitch, and I didn't like it.
Dude, that was stupid.
I hated it.
It was literally a two-swipe duel.
I was like, how'd you do that to this dude? How'd you do that? I saw the clip online when it came out. I was like, I don't like this, and I didn't even watch it.
Their lightsabers too, they were toothpicks. I don't like that.
I've never been a big fan of the art style of Clone Wars or Rebels, in all honesty. It kind of grew on me over time, but I've never it looked really good in the latest season of Clone Wars though. The one that just came out.
Yeah.
That was really some of the especially the background shots, that stuff looked amazing.
Yeah.
I still don't really like the character models all that much.
It's all generated. I mean, to make that entire universe digitally, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, the most recent, it's just Toy Story 4. Dude, the animation, the opening scene in Toy Story 4 when it's raining and stuff and the thing's going, it looks real.
Yeah.
And then you got the little toys in there that they're the things that don't look real. But it's no, this whole thing's fake. That's how fucking Clone Wars latest season was. It's everything looks real in the background, but then you got these weird looking character models running around.
Yeah.
But I think it would show up in Ahsoka. I don't think, because Rick, you're on the whole camp of Darth Maul actually being in this Obi-Wan thing.
Where else would he be showing up?
I don't think he is. I think Ray Park's just reliving his glory days or something, just stirring up stuff. Because if you haven't, if you're not aware of what we're talking about, Ray Park for the last, I don't know, week or two, maybe
Couple weeks.
yeah, a couple weeks, he's just randomly posting these pictures. Some of them, like obviously, were some from like the Solo set when he was getting mall makeup and everything put
I don't
on.
think that's from the Solo set. That's just me.
It was. He
But-
tagged Solo in that one.
Yeah, but I mean, well, we'll see.
Why would you post a picture of Darth Maul as Darth Maul and tag Solo in it if it wasn't about Solo?
Why would he post that picture of him and Obi-Wan though, too?
I know that's what I was getting to. Then there's other things like that though, where it's just like a random shitty fan art of like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan with the little
Jedi braid.
rat tail on the side. And like that was random. Then he's posting pictures of like him and Sam Witwer at Lucasfilm, pictures in Pinewood Studio, just random stuff. He's just posting a lot of stuff in relation to Darth Maul.
Yeah.
So Rick here is thinking that Darth Maul is going to be showing up. I don't know though. Like I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. We already got freaking Vader coming back.
Yeah.
As much as I'd
That'll
love
be
to see them all in there, like I don't know why they would need to be in there.
True.
Because if you're gonna have Maul, you could. When's Maul's dead in Mando, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Maybe Ahsoka has a flashback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Ahsoka, no one knows who Ahsoka is if you didn't watch the shows.
No.
So to a lot of people, that was their first time seeing Ahsoka in Mandalorian. To a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So I could see Ahsoka maybe having a flashback. And then bringing in someone like Maul would actually make a lot of sense because everybody knows who Maul is. Like,
Well, there's one point actually in Rebels where Maul and Ezra actually like work together, weirdly enough.
yeah, I mean, Maul tries to turn him. He tries to make him be his apprentice and everything.
Yeah.
So. For sure. Maul's the best, dude. If you can bring Maul in, you always bring Maul in, dude. He's the coolest looking character they got. Like, I don't know. Do you think before we wrap this up, who looks cooler, Maul or Vader?
Maul.
Maul? What do you got?
Vader's classic, but
Man, I mean, I have a hard time. Maul's badass, but Vader's just got the all black, just
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Vader's got the
Who you got?
yeah. I'm throwing my hat in the ring for Vader, but
Now I got to
but
be the
Maul's a
tiebreaker.
close second.
you gotta like look at them both.
you let us box you into that corner.
Dude, I gotta go with Maul. I'll tell you why.
Ooh.
I'll tell you why. Only because there are some things that, like, in all honesty, and I have to attribute this being to 1977, obviously, more so than anything, because Maul had the benefit of having a bit more modern edge to him, and not
Sure.
having like an analog respirator thing on
Which
his
is funny.
chest, and just like weird stuff like that I don't think he would have had he
Maul's-
been created later.
Maul's far before Vader
Yeah.
too, which is funny. Like he's got that modern edge to him. But
Yeah.
Vader's like
And that's just by virtue of our time passing. You know what I mean?
True.
'Cause that's the whole
And
thing
Maul-
too with the prequels. They look super futuristic compared to the OG.
Well, and up until Rogue One, Maul had by far the coolest fight scenes. Like Vader,
yeah.
up until Rogue One, Vader's sword. I mean, I guess the Empire duel with Luke, the Empire and Jedi duel with Luke.
Yeah, those
were
were pretty. Those were a
awesome.
huge step up from
Yeah.
the Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but the Obi-Wan, yeah, you look at the Obi-Wan and versus like
rough.
Maul's introduction in the Phantom Menace, and clearly Maul's lightsaber skills were a notch above.
Yeah, they at least looked like they were a notch above because we have to go from watching all that to watching Darth Maul, and then be told that no, guys, Vader is still more powerful. Like
yeah,
like
right?
that's how it is. Like Vader is more powerful, even though he looks more powerful.
He's got more power in the Force, I would say.
Well, Vader is supposed to be like the best. Whatever was it like? Whatever's that form that he is supposed to use canonically. I forget what it is, but it's like the real tanky one where you use two hands. He's supposed to be like the best in canon lore of that form of lightsaber. Like
There's a lot.
function.
There's 7 forms.
Yeah, there's like 7 or 9 or something. It's been a long time
I gotta
since
learn
I've
'em.
looked into that stuff. But that's just what I remember. But anyways, guys, question is, who looks cooler, Maul or Darth Vader? No, but really, what do you think of Mena Massoud? But let us know in the comment section below. Who looks cooler, not who's stronger. We all know, I accept that Darth Vader is stronger. Like, everybody knows that. But Maul looks cooler, in my opinion. I gotta say Maul looks cooler. But that's just me. But what do you think about Mena Massoud potentially being Ezra Bridger and maybe Ahsoka, maybe Obi-Wan? What show do you think he's going to pop up in if he does indeed become Ezra Bridger? And are you excited to see Ezra Bridger make a live action appearance? That's hard to say sometimes if you try to say it fast. Ezra Bridger. Like, I don't know. It was a little bit of a tongue twister there, but let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic is it's an interesting rumor, in all honesty, and it has a lot of implications that come along with it. And this just dropped here a little while ago, where I believe, let me pull this up so I don't forget here the name. The Daily Mail, who was quoting the Daily Telegraph. So I think Daily Telegraph is a British or UK based like newspaper, and then the Daily Mail being the online outlet. They are reporting that Jennifer Lawrence may potentially be Sue Storm in the upcoming Fantastic Four MCU movie. And when I say this has a couple of implications, I'm mainly referring to WandaVision and Pietro. Okay? Because if you think about this, she played Mystique in the very same X-Men movies that this Pietro, Evan Peters Pietro, or Peter, if you want, because he was called Peter in those movies. But either way, she was an X-Men character in those very same movies that he is appearing in now in the MCU as this Quicksilver guy. And I would believe if they were actually going to go this route, that this would kind of completely debunk the fact that that's not the Fox Quicksilver, in my opinion. Otherwise, though, if this is true, she's a good actress, so I mean, I'd be all for it. Elsewise, I don't know. I just still think a lot of people are going to be real pissed off that it's not John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Everybody's just so honed in on that.
Yeah, people are set on it.
Like, everybody is set on it. Like, everybody is. So, I don't know how that's going to go. And I guess it is good to note, too, that I don't know what other information the Daily Telegraph has from this, because it literally, like, says in this article, I don't really buy this article for the most part, because they say, like, it loosely says pretty much Jennifer Lawrence is reportedly going to Australia, and that's where they're going to be reportedly filming Fantastic Four. So she's playing Sue Storm, obviously. Like, she's playing Sue Storm because she's going to Australia. Like,
why else? Why would anybody move to Australia besides that?
Yeah,
really.
I mean, because there is literally no other reason to go, right?
No,
So
it's not beautiful or anything.
Yeah,
there are no other movies filming down there. There's no other, vacation spots. There's.
I mean, they're filming Thor: Love and Thunder in Australia right now too. Is she going to be in Thor? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really buy this. Not just because of that, but there's really not a lot of. If that's all you're going to give me, I'm going to go ahead and say, like, maybe you're reaching and making a bit of some assumptions, kind of like the engineer, right? We'll get into it in a little bit, but kind of like the whole aerospace engineer thing. Like, maybe it's not what you think it's going to be. Like, maybe you're making something out of nothing. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with this. But otherwise, she's a great actress, so it'd be cool. Like, I'd be fine with it in the end. So, what do you guys think about this? You think this thing has any weight to it, or?
I don't know if it has anything to do with like the Fox and Marvel thing, like you were saying, but I mean, it's just so hard to say nowadays when like rumors get started. It's no different than the Ezra Bridger thing. It's just like somebody said that might be happening. So
yeah, I know a guy who knows a guy who knew a guy who saw something on Reddit.
His brother's uncle's friend's cousin saw it.
Yeah.
But he's a reliable guy.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like anybody that does like speculation casting, they'll find any tenuous connection between a person and a location or a film, and they'll go ahead and throw it out there as like a speculation, because then you're able to say, "Oh, did it do it? Oh man."
Oh, you're good. I had you on. I had you on full screen and everything. Just
that was cool for a second.
And then you're able to say like, "Oh, I was right. I got the scoop on that one," and like get your. But what about the 500 other ones you threw out there that had nothing, that weren't valid, that were incorrect? Like, I feel like it's kind of a spaghetti against the wall type deal where people just throw whatever they can out there and hopes that they get one right just for the I don't even know what that the bragging rights of getting one
The
right.
online internet points, man.
Yeah.
All them
That's
updates
right.
and
I
stuff.
called that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I said that they cited me, man. Like that was me.
Yeah.
Them
Jeff from
internet points.
Wisconsin said
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely. It seems a bit spaghetti on the wall to me. That's exactly what I was gonna say. If they're just throwing something up, they're gonna see what sticks. There's plenty of
Mhm.
places out there that do it. Some a lot more than others. Like I ain't gonna name names or anything, but like you know who you are and you know who we're talking about. You know, like there's a couple of them out there.
Yeah.
But not to say they're always wrong, but that the point is, it's the win-loss ratio there, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Killed to death.
It's definitely fun. It's definitely fun to speculate about. Like I hadn't considered that they would use that Jennifer Lawrence would be up for that role, but I think she fits the role fairly well. I still go back to the fact that I don't think Kevin Feige is going to be using these characters. Although that my belief may be out the window with what's going on in WandaVision, however that plays out. But I just believe that Kevin Feige wants to cast his own people in these roles. Like I'm trying to think of.
Well, if she's coming to play
if I-
Sue Storm, that would be on his fruition.
Sure, she wouldn't be playing the same character, but it's still bringing somebody in that's played in the MCU before. I guess he did it with. I mean, he did it with Chris Evans. So
And Jay Jonah. J. Jonah
Yeah.
Jameson.
Yeah,
That's very
yeah,
true.
but Jay Jonah is playing the exact same character, and he was almost perfectly. I mean, not
J.K.
almost. He was
Simmons is made for
perfectly
that
cast.
role.
Yeah, exactly.
J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson.
Like in
Exactly.
real life.
Like, that's
So
him.
I think that one going back to our Man of Steel talk from earlier, you'd be hard pressed to find another actor out there that would play that role as well. So I think that one was kind of a no brainer. But
I think Michael Keaton would make a good J. Jonah Jameson, honestly.
Yeah.
you think so?
Yeah, like you want to see me get nuts? Like I can totally see that guy playing J. Jonah.
Yeah, I
Like,
can see
whoa.
that.
That's good stuff. He plays that's why I always thought, like, this is off topic, but with the Michael Keaton thing, I always thought that he would have been a better Joker than a Batman. Because I look at him in Beetlejuice, and then like even
He
that
is the
scene,
Joker in Beetlejuice.
that's what I'm
basically.
saying. I was
Mhm.
like, how could you have him? Like, how did you not know that like he was perfect? Like he was a good Batman too, but like he was perfect for the Joker. Like,
Yeah.
at least I don't know.
I
think he
think
would have
they
been perfect.
I
for
think
the
they had
Joker.
Jack Nicholson cast first for that movie though, didn't they?
I don't know, but he's the reason that it brought a little bit of weight to the movie. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Could you imagine
Well,
if
and
the
that's-
roles are switched though? Jack Nicholson as Batman.
I mean, I actually could, yeah. I mean, especially back in the day, like I don't know, but it would maybe have been
Be
a
a
little
crazy
bit too
Batman.
late in his years to play Batman at that point. But I mean,
True.
5-10 years sooner, maybe,
Mhm.
like for sure, like that early Jack would have done, like Shining Jack.
Yeah.
He could have been
Be
Batman.
a crazy Batman.
He could have
though,
been
like-
Batman though. He was in good shape too. Like he would have been good.
Yeah.
Strong jaw. It would have worked. It would have worked for sure. But yeah, I don't know about this Sue Storm thing, man. I don't think it's.
We were talking
know.
off camera before we got into this. You touched on it some, like the John Krasinski, Emily. I mean,
Mhm.
would you guys be disappointed if it's not them? Are you kind of hanging all your hopes on the fact that those two get the roles?
I love John Krasinski. And Emily Blunt's good too.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like lose sleep over it, but
I think
Be a
the
good casting.
reason people bought so much into the John Krasinski, Emily Blunt thing, at least in my opinion, and this is kind of like, because like I'd be fine if they're not. Like I would love to. I think they're both phenomenal, talents in general. Like John's being like killing it with directing right now with like a Quiet Place 2, and all that. Emily Blunt starring in those movies as well. It's kind of like lightning in a bottle if they did play respectively Reed Richards and Sue Storm, because they are married in real life. So like,
Yeah.
they definitely would have the on-screen chemistry. Like that would be,
Oh, yeah.
you saw them in A Quiet Place, and like they carried a movie without any dialogue.
right.
You know what I mean? Like they're
Right.
talented people. They could totally do it. And then the fact that John Krasinski was almost Captain America,
That's crazy.
I think that's kind of what has really lent people to like really believe it, because it's not very far fetched. Like Marvel and Kevin Feige were already looking at him for a role at one point, and they like to like Tom Hiddleston was auditioning for Thor, but they were like, you know what, this isn't good for you. But how would you want to play Loki? They stay in house a lot. Like they know who they like. So I don't know. I could see that being why a lot of people have like really, really honed in on it. And like I'm not gonna lie, like that's what I want to see happen. But I'm not gonna be disappointed if it's like not, because in the end, we always talk about it. Marvel has always killed it with their casting. So whoever they get, I'm sure will be good regardless. So I would just trust Kevin Feige.
Well, I also asked you guys, would you be disappointed if they cast one and not the other?
Ooh.
Like if they brought John Krasinski in and didn't bring Emily Blunt on board, or if they brought Emily Blunt on board but didn't bring John, how would you guys feel about them splitting that couple? And
they're like the husband and wife acting super team. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Do you think that they would do it? Do you think all these questions are posed under the assumption that they want to do it in the first place, but
yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I'll tell you what, I would probably be. It's weird. I don't know why I'm thinking like this, but if they were to get Emily Blunt to play Sue Storm, I'd be fine if they weren't able to get John for whatever reason. But if they were able to get John and then didn't get Emily, that would upset me. But the other way around would not bother me as much, at least in my head, for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, I could see Emily Blunt doing it on her own and being fine. But if they have Reed Richards as John Krasinski there and they didn't bring Emily Blunt in, I just think that would be, like, so odd. Even though I feel like if anything, based on what I just said before, them having, like, a pre-existing relationship with John, it would make more sense for him to show up and Emily not. I don't know. Because that's the only other thing they run into is they are a husband and wife in real life. So they got, like, kids. Like, they're both going to be doing this movie. Like, it's like, it might be kind of just hard for them to do. Maybe they're balancing their schedules. Yeah. I don't know how they operate. So, like, I'm sure they could afford to have, like, a nanny, but that might not be what they want to do. Maybe they want to see their kids, So I don't know.
Any chance they bring Jenna Fisher back to play Sue Storm?
Get a lot of like,
get a little office reunion.
It'd be good. I could probably. That's the kind of thing I would have loved to have happened if they were already established. If they had like them pop up in WandaVision, but then like they go in the barrier and then all of a sudden it's fucking Jim and Pam.
Yeah, that would change into. That would be amazing.
Like that would be cool. But
whenever I see John Krasinski in anything outside of The Office, I always just expect him to look at the camera like.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's good stuff. That's why
at one point I would have been like, John Krasinski cannot, like, had they cast him as Captain America, way back when, I would have probably been really in my own head, because I learned my lesson, years ago about don't judge actors before you see him in the role. But I would have questioned my own head, like the dude from The Office, like I love him in The Office, but can he really play a superhero? But man, after seeing him in like, what's the Amazon, the Jack Ryan show?
Yeah, Jack Ryan. And 13 hours.
13 hours, yeah. He got jacked for the.
He's in really good shape.
He brings it on the drama scale, so in the action scale, so yeah.
Yeah, he's a hell of an actor.
A Quiet Place, it was super dramatic.
Oh, heartbreaking in Quiet Place.
Oh, yeah. Like, she's like, dude, for sure. He's a very talented guy. And like I said, he's killing it behind the camera right now, too.
Yeah.
So, like
multi-talented.
Yeah, that's the thing. The dude comes out and directs A Quiet Place, which I believe was at least his first feature film. He may have directed something else smaller than that before that, but comes out and kills it with a movie where there's, like, no dialogue. Like, it's hard to make a good horror movie. Like, it's also like horror. A lot of people say is like the easiest genre to kind of cut your teeth on, but it's hard to make a good horror movie, just like it's hard to make a good comedy movie. And the dude literally killed it in a movie where, like, again, there's no dialogue, and you're just sitting there, you're glued to the screen the whole time. Like, you're being quiet, like like it was.
Don't say anything.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm excited to see that. The second one, if it ever comes out. God, that was supposed to come out last year too.
Yep.
Jeez. But yeah, the question is, guys, what do you think about this? Albeit, it's kind of an iffy report. It may very well be some spaghetti on the wall business, but it's still fun to speculate. Still fun to speculate because again, if this is true, Jennifer Lawrence is a very talented actress, so I would be on board with it. But I guess you would have to. I don't know. It's like then we lose the whole John Krasinski Emily Blunt thing. Like I don't know. Guys, just let us know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you going to be upset if the Reed Richards and Sue Storm are cast and it's not John Krasinski and Emily Blunt? Or if, like John said, what if they do one and not the other? Let us know which would make you more upset down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our penultimate topic here before we get into our WandaVision episode 7. I was going to say season 1, episode 7, spoiler discussion. It's always a tongue twister. We're getting to that next. Before that, we finally got our look. Finally, this movie comes out in like 2 months now, and people are starting to get worried, me being included. Like, why are you hiding this movie from us, Warner Brothers? What's going on? And it's none other than Mortal Kombat. We got our first look at this trailer here, and I gotta tell you, I don't know about you. We talked about this on stream, but I don't know about you guys. This trailer kind of blew me away. Like, I thought it was far better than it had any business being.
Yeah.
Not to discredit anybody. It's just like the Warner Brothers didn't put a ton of money into it. It's a fairly low budget movie for this kind of film. You had a first time screenwriter with a first time director. So it was a lot of question marks. And we know the track record Mortal Kombat's had. I mean, the first Mortal Kombat movie it's a masterpiece in its own right. Okay? Mortal Kombat Annihilation sucks. Okay? That movie's garbage. But the first Mortal Kombat it's one of those movies that it's so bad it's good. You know what I mean? Like it's a fun watch. The first Mortal Kombat, hell of a soundtrack. You get the music. You know, I mean, there's what's not to love. You know
I forgot about the soundtrack. Man, that soundtrack was fire.
It's great, dude. It's a good soundtrack. But I mean, it's again, it's not a good movie, but it's at least a fun movie to watch. This one looks like it could actually be both.
Yeah.
Like, you got your fatalities in there, have a big roster of characters.
That's
like,
cool.
There's a ton of stuff. It did look like they spent the most time, which this is a good thing, mind you, but it looks like they spent the most time on the Sub-Zero's effects and not so much Kano's, because this was the fakest looking CG they had.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was like the kind of the cheesiest shot they
Look
had.
at that face.
But I mean, Liu Kang's fire looked good. Jax's arms looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It had a very hyper real look to him.
Looks like Anakin's hand.
Yeah, it reminded me of like District 9, how it felt. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How it felt real grounded, and real. Like, that's just how it felt. But it does look like a Star Wars cybernetic. The costuming though, they got, I think, like they did a great job with the costuming. Like Kung Lao, he looks like Kung Lao. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that's Kung Lao when you see him. It looks great, man. Like I in Scorpion has like his fire, his NetherRealm effect thing going on,
shot.
dude. It's good. Like, I'm pretty hyped for this. What were you getting? What was your guys' biggest takeaway from this? Because like I thought it looked really good, man.
I just think it looks good. You know, kind of exceeded my expectations, especially with the budget, like you said, Goro.
Goro looked good too. And like we talked about this on stream. This looks like that Cole dude who's the new character, the guy you follow with his birthmark. Do you guys remember that scene? Did you catch this though in the trailer? They like have like the voiceover and they go in there, like Sonya and Jax go in there, and they're like, it's it's a birthmark, whatever. And then the girl's like, yeah, he's had it since birth.
That's a birthmark.
Like, yeah, that's what a birthmark is, man. What are you talking? Oh, it's so stupid. But it looks like he has like leather skin or something. Like he has some sort of power.
Yeah, he's got
like,
something going on.
Like there's something going on here. I don't know what the hell it is, but it ain't a shirt. It ain't a birthmark.
That'd be a strange looking birthmark.
That ain't no birthmark. But yeah, Goro looks pretty damn good
compared to the other movies. Yeah.
Yeah, like Liu Kang looks good, and then like his little fire dragon looks good. If I can get a good shot of it, like. But yeah, even his fire effects are good. I can't seem to get there. It's kind of there. The music too. They had like the quick little at the very end of it. They brought in the theme. Why does that
keep coming up?
I know.
Yeah.
Why did they put this in here? Oh, this is like director shares secrets from the first trailer that I clicked on. It wasn't just a trailer. I thought it was. No wonder I was having trouble finding the goddamn fight scene here. But this was a great scene though. When they showed this and then he grabs the blood sickle, like blood goes
sickle.
up, freezes it, stabs him.
Is that Scorpion there?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But and this is what I brought up. We talked about this again on stream. If you want to catch us streaming every Friday around like 8:30 p.m. EST, we're there. Come watch. Come have fun. Come hang out
with us.
But we were talking about this and like, what do you think here? Because John, you brought this up a while back where you're like, Mortal Kombat was kind of set up for failure as a franchise because like everybody dies. So like your sequels kind of get, fucked. Like you kill everybody off, and then what are you gonna do?
Maybe they're fighting in, like you were saying, like some realm though, and you're dead in that realm, but you can like respawn.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you? I'm wondering. Like, what do you guys think if like you don't die? You know what I mean? Like, it is a video game. Like, it is a video game movie. What if like when you die, you don't actually die, so that way you can like if you die during Mortal Kombat, you don't die.
Scorpion's already dead though, technically, isn't he?
I don't know if they've gotten there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he does have the fire around him.
It certainly looks like they have a Scorpion-esque character that's him before he becomes his Scorpion. Like, it seems like he there's a character that, because they have that whole fighting scene where he's fighting multiple ninjas and he's not in his Scorpion costume and he's still using his spear and everything. And then, of course, you have the shot later on where he's actually in the full Scorpion garb and he has the flame effects around him. So I have a feeling that that's going to happen. I hope they kill him. I don't want to see, like we talked about this in our chat, right after the trailer dropped. And I mean, for me personally, I'd like them to just go ahead and do the reboot method with the Mortal Kombat series. Like, do a good 3, maybe 4 films. Do a good trilogy. Actually, ideally for me, it would be a good trilogy, and go ahead and kill off characters. Like, if Liu Kang loses for some reason, if story dictates that Liu Kang loses in film 1 and he gets fatality'd, then you don't see Liu Kang until they reboot the franchise a decade later. Like,
well, that can't happen because he becomes God Liu Kang merged with Raiden. Like, Liu Kang doesn't die.
Well, depending on what story you're going with, yes, that would cause an issue. But yeah, the idea of respawning is kind of cool, but then there needs to be some weight behind it. Like, they need to respawn on Earthrealm and they're not able to participate in the tournament again. And there has to be some rationale. It has to carry some sort of weight. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, that was a fatality just for the sake of showing a fatality on screen, which, all right, cool. I'm like, show the fatalities. Awesome. Like, I'd love to see them, but story-wise, I think it would just fall really flat if they didn't carry any weight at all.
Yeah, that's if they did go the respawn route. Like, the way I would make it still have stakes, I guess I would say, is the rules only apply during your Mortal Kombat match. So if Sub-Zero finds you out in the streets during intermission and has the benefit of killing you, you're dead. Like, you know what I mean? Because they could like have that like as like an alternate line where like people outside of the tournament are still trying to like kill each other. So they don't, because if you die, you can't show up for your match. So your realm would automatically forfeit that match.
You win by default.
Exactly. So like if Sub-Zero kills you outside of it, then you can't show up to defend Earthrealm in Mortal Kombat. So you lose. But
do you think when the fatalities happen, it's going to be like fatality?
Well, they did have Kano ripping out what looked like Reptile's heart in the trailer. If you go back and look at, not a spoiler, it's literally in the trailer if you go slow enough. I don't know what the hell else it would be. It looked like a dinosaur,
like Godzilla.
It looked like a little Godzilla.
I thought it looked like a bear or a wolf.
It kind of does. That's why, like, in some iterations of Reptile, he kind of looks like Lizard. Like when Lizard actually looks like, a crocodile, like
sure,
not the human face one. So I'm guessing it was Reptile because of that. And Reptile was seen in the trailer coming out of cloaking, but you only see his feet or something.
Although with the new introduction of like what appears to be a new main character to the story, and by the way, we had talked about this too. I think you briefly mentioned. I was trying to look up while you were doing your intro stuff there. I was trying to look up the production budget because I was curious what the production budget for this movie was. And I actually couldn't find it anywhere. It says that like when they originally tried to reboot it back in 2013, the production budget was like 40 to 50 million. So I'm assuming it's got to be higher than that now.
I think it was 50.
It was 50.
I think it was 50. I'll see if I can try to find it.
That does seem low, but anyway, so you may have touched on this, but you mentioned I think you mentioned that there's this new character, and why would they bring in a new character? My feeling is that Mortal Kombat is such an established franchise at this point. Like everybody has their favorites, and yeah, Liu Kang was kind of like the main guy, and he was definitely the main guy in the first Mortal Kombat movie. But like for me personally, my favorite character has always been Johnny Cage. But for other people, like it's Scorpion. Other people, it's Sub-Zero. You know, everybody has their favorites. So I think as director and a storyteller, scriptwriter, maybe the way you approach that is like everybody has their favorites. We don't want to give one favorite top billing over another. So let's create a new character to be the entry point into the movie for everybody, and then have all the favorites play off of this character. So that's my theory as to why we get this new person in the story.
I mean, dude, I'm all for new characters. So if they want, as long as they make a good character, you know, if Ed Boon was like, I got an idea for a character, like you can use it, like, you know what I mean? If it was something like that, I always get worried when like movies gotta like throw in some random, like it's like the source material's right. It's like if they made Harry Potter, but instead of following Harry, you follow some dude named Simon, and Simon's nobody from lore. It's just
From
we
his
put him in there.
perspective, yeah.
Like, you know, I just hope there's a good reason for it, and it seems like the reason is so like they could already. This is what I'm guessing. It seems like they went that route because like Liu Kang and Kung Lao seem to be already established as those characters in the world, and they already participate in Mortal Kombat because they go in like that scene, like Cole and Sonya are there and they get introduced to them and they're just like already there, like doing their thing. So like I'm guessing that's just the route they're going with it, is so you have this new guy who is just playing the role of us to get introduced to the already standing world of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And I guess Sonya and Jax kind of play that same role too, because they
Like the human.
Yeah, they don't seem to be
element.
like super aware, because they called Sub-Zero just someone with superhuman abilities. They didn't know he was Sub-Zero from X realm or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, and you know, if they went the route, if they tried to make Liu Kang the entry point to this movie, then you'd probably get people saying, "Well, is it just a remake of the, you know, what 94 version?" Like, you know, I think maybe it's a way
94,
to.
97 or something.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but
I
something
can't
like
find the
that.
box office for it either, though. I for whatever reason I think it was 50, but they don't have it reported right now on like Box Office Mojo or anything.
Yeah, if it was 40 to 50 in 2013, I feel like I feel like it
1995.
should be more. 95, yeah.
95. So Annihilation was probably 97. That might be where I'm thinking of 97. Is it
Okay.
97 or 99? I can't remember.
I think it was 97.
I think it was 97.
Yeah, I don't think it was 99.
I don't think they waited 4 years, like, for sure. But the only question I have with this is check this out real quick. This is Sub-Zero here, right? Why does like take a look at the mask, okay? Why could I get a better looking mask on Etsy?
Right.
That's the
Those are
only
cool looking.
complaint I have, is that there are superior looking masks.
That's more futuristic looking though, and I think they're going for more
I was going
like
to
a
say
classic-
that's a lot more
This is like an exact replica of
Stylized
Sub-Zero's
and
mask.
modern.
Thank you very much. Okay,
It looks really
This is a
good.
replica.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like in the video game.
I want like a black
But
one.
Like, it looks
appeared
good.
But his costume too, that doesn't look like it goes with his
Well,
the
then
rest of
look,
his outfit.
then they made they also got this guy makes his scorpion mask. Like, come on.
Yeah,
This is
that
looks
from
good.
This is from Mortal Kombat. I can't remember if it was 9 or 11. He had this.
It
like,
says
that's
11 down
actually
there on the right,
was
down
it
the
11?
bottom on the right. It says, yeah. See on the left-hand screen at the bottom of your images,
No,
on the
I'm,
bottom of your
over to the-
thumbnails.
I'm completely blind.
right at the
I'll
screen.
believe you that you're saying it. I
Look
believe
at
you.
look at the price.
Bottom
It's
of your
right by the price.
thumbnails.
Oh,
up
Mortal
to the
Kombat.
left.
Yeah, it's
Oh
right.
my
I got it.
God.
It's up here. I kept hearing left, and I'm like, I don't see. I just see pictures on the left.
Yes,
But
at
yeah.
the bottom, is the Mortal Kombat 11 graphic.
This one.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, see, there it was in the game, and then they made the mask, and it looks fucking great.
That does.
It does. No, I completely agree.
It-
What I'm saying though
it
is
even looks
the
good in
movie
person.
costumes. The movie costumes don't. They reflect a more like.
It's a different aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Eric.
I know what
I
you're
didn't mean to,
saying.
like, cut it
I
off,
just they just seem a little bit big, man.
They
Like,
do seem big.
They
There's
seem
that.
a little too big. That's my only complaint. Like they look good. Like when it all looks normal. Like it doesn't look bad from this angle. Like it looks fine. Like it looks fine. But I do think it could have looked better.
That's like a more mystical looking.
Yeah,
like,
I just think the match.
Ancient.
I think
has
they
some
did a
history
great
to it.
job nailing the overall looks and aesthetic of Mortal. It feels like Mortal Kombat. 100%
Definitely.
feels like Mortal Kombat.
yeah,
I'm just more. Maybe it's just me being more used to the more like.
technical looking, modern.
Yeah, and that's just like a more like the Sub-Zero one in particular is a much more like classic rendition of
I love the
Sub-Zero.
weathering on
You know what
there.
I mean? This one even looks cool. This one's from what was this Mortal Kombat X? Like you know what I mean?
That does look cool. It's
Like,
got an
that's-
LED in it.
Yeah, that's kind of more the aesthetic the other one's going
RGB
for, too.
LED. You got to get that for your COVID mask.
Dude, honestly, this would be a cool Sith ventilator too.
It really would be.
You get like a paint it black with
And do
some
the red
weathering
light?
and get a red light. Yeah, dude, it'd look really cool. It'd be a cool ventilator for sure. Like, look at that. That'd be good looking.
Darth Vader needed something like that versus like the big helmet.
Yeah, like Malgus, man. 'Cause
That's what I was gonna
Malgus
say.
had like Malgus
Or
just had
Malik.
the ventilator part. Yeah, and well, Malik didn't have a jaw, so that whole
Thanks to
thing was-
Revan.
Yeah, he got fucked up. He got messed up for
He looked
sure.
goofy without that thing too.
Yeah, this
That
thing-
looks like a Sith mask.
Yeah, this thing's actually a lot darker than.
How much
it
is
comes
that?
across.
$40.
$40.
Damn.
Yeah. It's pretty good. That's
What's the options though?
probably
It's 40
finished.
plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so like finished.
RGB DIY RGB is 49. That's not bad.
Well, I mean, even if you got it, it's $100. That's a pretty fair price. That Revan mask I got was $100 too, like fully finished. Like that's pretty solid for something that looks like that good.
Yeah.
Sure,
And it looks
good,
like metal.
Good job, Gear Props. You got a free shout out for making a cool mask. So there you go. Sponsor us. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, get us some of those masks.
Yeah. We'll take some. I'll do a review of them, and then we'll send me a couple more, and then
We'll wear
we
'em on
can
the show.
we can do them on the show.
We'll do our whole review of the Mortal Kombat movie while wearing them.
There you go. We'll do it. We'll do it. I'm
Damn.
down for that. I am down for that. But yeah, so I'm pretty hyped for the movie though, for sure, because we're gonna have a plethora of movies in the next coming month here for genre fans. Because we got Snyder Cut, then we got Godzilla, and then we got Mortal Kombat. I
It's
don't
a good
even
time for movies.
Yeah, I don't even know what's after that, but like,
Well, considering
That's-
last year we had like jack shit.
yeah, nothing. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. If they're if,
And
if
we're
they're-
we're
Who's that?
mixing a heavy dose of the end of WandaVision and then Falcon and
Oh,
Winter
yeah.
Soldier on Disney Plus TV shows in there as well. I mean, it's a content bonanza after the drought,
put it.
the drought and the drought of the pandemic that we just have gone through.
We deserve
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're a genre fan, you're pretty lucky right now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for it all. And if you ever needed a reason to sign up for HBO Max, there you go. Like what I just said.
Seriously.
Snyder
For the
Cut,
price
Godzilla.
of one movie
Well, Rick-
ticket.
I was gonna say, Rick said off camera, the price of a movie. Just think about that. Like when you're going to spend your hard-earned dollars over the next month, just think about where you really want to put that money, because I think you could do a lot worse than spend the $15 on HBO Max. Because not only do you get all the new content that we're hyping up here, but you get all the back catalog. If there's anything you've missed, if you missed what's the Jared Leto Denzel Washington flick that just hit?
The little,
Little Things, which was a good movie. That was a good flick. But if you miss that, like if you get it now, you can still jump in and catch that before it leaves after its 30-day run or whatever.
Well,
and
speaking
still
of
be-
genre fans, I mean the Ridley Scott produced Raised by Wolves show that's on there.
Yep.
Pretty good. The whole first season's on there for that. Doom Patrol's on there. I mean,
That's right. You get the DC shows.
yeah,
Yeah.
like Titan season 3 will be coming
Titan.
out soon at some
Mhm.
point. There's plenty of stuff. HBO Max is a good ass service. There you go. That's our shilling. There was no Snyder Cut topic, so we didn't have a chance to shill out for HBO Max. So Mortal Kombat filled the gap for it. Now we're shilling for them.
Shit.
But I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty
Mortal-
excited for Mortal Kombat. I'm pretty excited for it all.
I didn't realize how excited I was for Mortal Kombat until the trailer hit and I saw how good it was. I think Annihilation, having been the last movie, kind of
Rough.
left a sour taste in my mouth for Mortal Kombat. But man, Mortal Kombat, like I feel like there were two types of arcade kids back in the day. Like there were the Mortal Kombat kids, and then there were the Street Fighter kids. And like I like Street Fighter. It was fun, whatnot. But
Mortal
man,
Kombat.
anytime I went to the arcade, it was all about Mortal Kombat. It was all about trying to figure out the newest fatality. It was all about the crazy over the top. I think Street Fighter was maybe technically a better fighting game. Or at least some people will say it was a better fighting game in its original forms, but man, Mortal Kombat and so I've always been a Mortal Kombat kid, and I am super hyped for this. It looks so good.
I never cared about the Street Fighter stuff until Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah,
And then I
Oh,
thought the
yeah,
Capcom
yeah.
stuff was good. I was like, well, this is cool. Boy. And then
Yeah.
very different than Mortal Kombat, though. It's a more traditional arcade style fighter with the three team, the three guys. Like it's just like Dragon Ball Fighters. Like I love that game. That is like my favorite.
Sure.
Game. Favorite fighting game has been that. But then I always play the Mortal Kombat games every time they come out. Like they're always fun. I always
Yeah.
have a good time with them anyway.
Yeah.
Guys, question is, what do you think about the Mortal Kombat trailer? Did you like it? Are you excited for it? Were you going to watch? Do you already have HBO Max and we're going to watch it anyway? Did watching the trailer sway you into getting HBO Max for when this comes out in April? Or like I said, we got Snyder Cut. We got Godzilla. We got Mortal Kombat all in the span of like 4 weeks or something. Like, again, if you don't have HBO Max, there's your reason. That's a pretty good reason in my book. Like I already have it, so I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff there. Go check it out and let us know, what you think about the whole respawn thing. Do you think that's actually a possibility, or do you think the fatality is like that's it, they're done, we're not gonna see the character again? You know what I mean? Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our final topic here today is the WandaVision Season 1, Episode 7 spoiler discussion. Now, this is not gonna be a play-by-play of everything. We're just going to talk about, the implications, the theories, the things that happened, the theories that were proven right, the theories that were proven wrong. And we only got 2 more episodes left, so we're going to just kind of see where everybody's at going into this thing. You know what I mean? Who is this aerospace engineer? Have we already met them? Have we not? I don't think we have. I think we still might, but I really don't know at this point. We were talking about it before, like, it wasn't the show who made a big deal about this aerospace engineer thing. They literally said 2 sentences about this dude. That's it.
Or
Like,
lady.
I think I know an aerospace engineer who would want to do this episode later or 2 episodes later or something. I think it was the next episode. All right, good to go meet my guy. That's it. We made a big deal out of that. We were like,
Yeah.
it's gotta be Reed Richards. It's gotta be Hank McCoy. It didn't have to be anything. It probably was nothing. Like, I'm either leaning towards, like, we haven't met them yet in general. Like, because the army crew of people who were up there, that was not an aerospace engineer. Like, that was, like, Captain Goodner is not an aerospace engineer. Like, I don't buy that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that was the guy, then we would have been told that was the guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if it is a big deal. If it's not a big deal, then that there's no information. Just as that episode played out is how it would play out if it's not a big deal. So I don't know. Are you guys on the camp that this? Do you think this aerospace engineer thing actually is a person? Because I thought it'd be cool. The coolest thing I thought, like Reed Richards, John Krasinski would be cool and all, but like what I honestly thought would be the coolest thing would be the new MCU version of Hank McCoy. Like, he comes out, he's like, I'm Hank. It's not Kelsey Grammer. It's not Nicholas Hoult. It's just who Kevin Feige has chosen to be Hank McCoy. That's the aerospace engineer, because it's not Beast. He doesn't look like Beast.
No.
So we don't know if his mutant gene has been activated or if he's using the serum that turns him back into human form or what. We don't know. But it's just a guy named Hank McCoy. I thought that would have been the coolest way to do it, because you made a good point, John, with the Reed Richards thing. Like, why are you going to introduce Reed Richards like in WandaVision for this thing? Like, oh sure, I'll build you all a little truck. Well,
my
Granted,
thing-
I defended the truck because it's a very complicated truck, but
it was a sweet truck.
do what?
Monica, your Uber's here. It's some guy named Reed. He's brought you your Uber. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's not. It is a very sophisticated piece of machinery. All right, it needs to breach an interdimensional wall that is literally changing matter as it goes in and out. Okay, it's not. It's not an Uber. It's a.
this is
It could
It's
be.
like an Uber X, dude. Come on.
right. Uber Black.
Yeah.
you're talking about introducing either one of the most popular single comic book characters in all of comic books in Reed Richards, or B, the first introduction of the most popular Marvel franchise into the MCU proper with Hank McCoy and the connection to the X-Men. And you're going to do it as a delivery service for a car to get into a WandaVision bubble? Like, no. That's way too small.
That's what I think.
Nothing. This means absolutely nothing. Like, this is a much ado about nothing, the same way The Beekeeper was much ado about nothing. It's just a way for the show to explain how, instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to get in a special tank and drive it into there, she gives just a hint of a backstory so that people understand that it wasn't just that she magically Deus Ex Machina a magic tank to get in there. She actually knows somebody who has some science background that was able to bring her a tank. Like, that's the only reason that was mentioned at all.
What do you say
My
about
thoughts
this
exactly.
though? What do you say about this? I'm gonna throw a wrench in your plan just briefly. The actress who plays Monica Rambeau did an interview where she was asked about the engineer, and she said, "I can't wait for you guys to meet him or see who he is." She said that.
Like,
What do you think about that, though?
But the person that brought her the vehicle, wasn't it the same person that was in the Captain Marvel movie? And
Yeah,
so,
but that's
like,
not the engineer.
maybe for her, she felt like, well, yeah, but why? She was going to meet her guy, and he just doesn't show up, and she doesn't mention at all that he didn't show up to bring it to her. Like, maybe she was just like guy, using the term
He
guy as
needed
kind
to
of a.
design it. You needed to design
I
it. He
really
didn't,
think
because that leans to your point. Reed Richards or Hank McCoy were not the Uber. They designed the fucking truck. They didn't deliver it to him because they weren't there. But now that it didn't work,
my guy.
I don't know.
Somebody's gonna have to
I didn't
come in
read the
and
show. I don't know. But it would make sense for him to come in now because they'd call him up and be like, "Dude, your thing didn't work. It didn't do anything." And then he comes in and he's like, "What the fuck you do to my car?"
It will be. It'll be the jump the shark moment for the MCU if it turns out that this person is somebody of some importance. Like,
I don't think
seriously,
that's a bit harsh.
Barry Reed Richards or Hank McCoy in a subplot to the WandaVision show.
He just designed a car, though. It's not like it's
well, the car's already in the show, though. They don't why or no, Monica's already in Westview.
At this point, so you're gonna put this genius person get the car in there to work. Like,
yeah, but Tony Stark has made a ton of things that didn't work. Look at Ultron. Like, come on.
not when it counted. Not
Ultron. What do you mean when he almost destroyed the world? It is not jump the shark. That's a bit. I don't agree with that. Like, if it was Hank McCoy, or if it's not that bad. I don't think it's the best way for them to be introduced, but I also don't think it's anything that's going to take away from the character at all. Like, they have these little Easter eggs come up all the time, like for it to be somebody.
Marvel's
like,
they do that a lot.
What a great story! What a great moment in cinema to tell your kids or somebody else about. Oh, you remember when they introduced Reed Richards? Yeah, he designed that car that didn't work. That was such a cool moment when he showed up.
Well, they said it was their best space rover.
Had it worked,
it was like it had already been around.
Had the car worked, would that have been good?
WandaVision, and it was that car that didn't work. Yeah, oh boy, that was so cool.
I agree. I agree. It's not the best way to do it, but I also I stand by the fact that it would not hurt anything. If it was
No.
just a little wink, like
If it's like Agent Colby Summers from the Avengers, like that might pique my interest. That might be inappropriate. Like maybe she has a background in astrophysics that we don't know about, and she's been working with Nick Fury underground, and like they tie that into Nick Fury getting back into the MCU. Like, oh yeah, I'm all on board for that. Like that would be cool. If it's Agent Fitz or Simmons from like the Agents of Shield show, and they kind of tie that back into it somehow, like, oh yeah, definitely. Like that's a cool little like name drop there that ties into the greater MCU as a whole, but also doesn't carry the weight and significance of introducing, like I said, the X-Men franchise into the MCU or the Fantastic Four into the MCU. Like that's such a weighty thing to do. It deserves a moment. Both those things deserve a moment. And this just isn't this isn't it. So
yeah, I could see that. Your camera froze, by the way. I could see it going either way. I don't totally agree that like the one character being introduced. I don't think would be like earth shattering either negatively or positively. It's just a fun little thing. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not gonna be like I don't know. If it was Hank McCoy, I wouldn't look down on Hank McCoy now, like because he showed up in WandaVision. Like, why would you not? It's the #1 rated show in the fucking world. It's not like it's like a small thing. Like it's a cool thing, and it has implications as it is going to affect Loki, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. Like, it's not a nothing thing. Is an event that is going to be stretched over 3 or 4 films. So
no, I
well,
agree
2
with that.
shows and 2 films.
I'm with you on that. I'm saying this particular plot point is such a small, insignificant thing
Yeah.
in this show that like if had one of them shown, if one of them shows up with a device that takes down the barrier so that they can go in and help, Wanda defeat Agatha, because I mean, not to bury the lead here, but if one of them comes up with a device that takes down the entire barrier or nullifies the hex, then yeah, that's a moment. That's a thing that leads that sets a dominoes in motion that is worthy of that. But to design a car that another character is going to use it's too small for me, man.
Yeah,
That's what she said.
That is true. That is what she said. Speaking of that's what she said. The Office intro was like that was good.
Yeah,
I loved
very much
all
an
the
Office.
scenes that were like the interview scene. Like you specifically said, like the scenes with Vision. One of you did. Like those were great. I think one of you guys did. I loved all those. I could watch. For one, Paul Bettany's great. Like he just has like the best chemistry. Like him and Darcy are good. Like he's just good. No matter what he's doing, he's good. Like he's good. He's awesome. The first thing, like I don't know about you guys, but the first thing he really popped off for me was in A Knight's Tale. You guys remember that? When he was the naked dude in A Knight's Tale, he was the guy who did all the announcing for Heath
Ledger, like
the Heath Ledger Knight movie.
That was a good flick.
It's a good movie. Like it's an underrated movie. It's good
for sure.
Like such a weird premise, but excellent movie.
Yeah,
the soundtrack.
Yeah, it was like a modern soundtrack with. That was like but it's really good. Like, it's a cute little film.
Cute little
It's a cute little film. It's good. I like that movie a lot. But yeah, he is the guy who does all the announcing in that movie, and he killed that. Like it was good. Alan Tudyk was in that movie. Like great cast, great movie. But I was gonna pull up like clips and go through, but it doesn't.
I wonder if they have like software that keeps you from screen capturing.
I think they have something blocking, like you don't see the big picture. You can see the small one, but
we can go by the subtitles.
We can go by the little thumbnail, I guess. But like I liked all this stuff. I don't feel like trying to see if there's really not a whole lot because that's the one thing. Not a whole lot happened in this one. There was a big reveal at the end. But it was kind of like a whimper. It was a whimper of a reveal to some degree. Like, because like,
it was almost an expected reveal.
Yeah, it's because everyone already, like, there were so many signs of her being Agatha. Yeah. I was just leaning towards it not being Agatha because they were throwing it in your face so many times. Like, really?
Agatha.
Just like when the whole thing happens where Monica gets shot out and she says it's all Wanda. That made me think it's not Wanda. Like,
sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is like episode 4. You're gonna just tell me like what's going on because I already thought it was Wanda, and it is Wanda to some extent. We know that,
That's what
but
the show's
now,
about.
yeah, now we know it's not just Wanda. So that was the whole thing. It's like, okay, well maybe Agatha is involved. If you're gonna tell me it's Wanda, then it probably means it's not Wanda. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I still think, by the looks of, we'll just talk about Agatha really because I don't really. There's not a whole lot more. Like I could watch anything with if the whole damn show was based on like the docu style, that would have been awesome. I
Yeah.
would have loved it. Like
Yeah.
that would have been really
Like
good.
the entire show.
The
in its
entire
entirety,
show
yeah.
would have been like, or at least more of it. I think it really suited itself for it. Like Vision, like trying to get this information out and like doing it. I thought it worked.
Yeah.
Like it really did.
Here's an interesting. What if they would have flipped the order? What if they would have started with the docu-series starting in like the 2010s? So this episode being the first episode of this series where you get an entire episode in the docu style, and then they went back in time. So you went from this episode to the previous, and then the further you got back in time, they started weaving in more of the current day MCU stuff. Do you think that would have made it more entertaining, so you would have had less of the old 50s and 60s episodes and more of the current docu-styles?
I think that would have worked for anybody who was turned off by the first. I was fine with it.
It was strange.
Like, I think it probably, if it was written that way and everything, I don't think it would have affected how the show flowed. Because, like, it made sense to go linearly. Like, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s. It all made sense. But there would have been something to it by just having just the time periods change.
Yeah, if you would, I wonder what story justification you could give for scrolling time. I mean, obviously, we don't know how this series wraps up and what all the implications are of the sitcoms and everything. So we'll have to see how that ends. I'm just wondering if they would have flipped the order on which they did they homaged the different sitcoms. If that would have helped people stay more or gotten people invested earlier in the show.
We're not getting a season 2 of WandaVision?
We're not supposed to be, no. It's supposed to be a one-off thing. Okay, so it did let me see if this one comes through. Because the other thing that did pop off on this, let's see here. Do you see this video? Yeah, you can see this one now. Okay, let me get the right episode queued up then. The Nexus of All Realities commercial. Well, the Nexus commercial.
Yeah.
Which has the obvious tie-in of if indeed it is the Nexus of All Realities. I don't know what else it would be. But I mean that brings about some implications. I mean, definitely could lead into why you have Jamie Foxx's Electro showing up and like why all these things are happening on Cuckoo Land with the rest of the other movies this thing is supposed to flow into.
Mm-hmm.
We have that. Like, is that really? There's so much that could go into the Nexus of All Realities thing. It's kind of hard to say where they would go with it. You know what I mean?
There's your engineer.
Nah, that's Goodner. It ain't no engineer. That ain't who the engineer is. Let me see something real quick. It's on another tab. Hold on.
So here's, I think this Agatha Harkness reveal, honestly, it's a little odd to me that they made such a, like, it was Agatha all along when so many people knew it. Now, I guess for a person that's doesn't know the comics and doesn't follow the comics, it might have been kind of surprising. But I think the bigger surprises or reveals are yet to come. And I hope that's the case, because if this was the big twist, if this was the big, aha, that's what's going on, then I hate to say it, but I'm going to be slightly let down by it. I was expecting something a little more revelatory. Is that even a word?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a bit anticlimactic if it's just a witch.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially doing it this late in the game. You know what I mean? There's only 2 episodes left. So if we're
And
gonna
with
look at
no previous history between them, no,
Yeah.
like we don't know what her motivations are at this point and stuff. If it's just a personal vendetta, like it's going to be interesting. That's the one thing that they've always done well with the villains in the MCU is they've given them a story or a justification that makes it not just a simple, oh, they're just bad. Like
Yeah.
even Loki in the first Thor, like it wasn't just because he's the god of mischief that he was like he had this tragic story of being this kid who was given to this other family and like growing up feeling like he was second and inferior to his brother Thor. Like they've from the jump, they've always done so good with the villains. I mean, the only one that really, I mean, maybe Iron Man, Obadiah Stane, he may have been a little cookie cutter, but other than that, they've always done a real good job giving some weight to their villains. And so for her to show up this late in the game and not have that would be a little disappointing.
That's why, based on her basement layout, I gotta think like, cause my initial thought before the Agatha reveal was that it was Nightmare. Cause like once we had the Yo Magic commercial, Mephisto and Nightmare were far more on the table for me because I never really considered them being a part of it. I just thought Wanda was fucking shit up for the most part.
Yeah.
Like that's and
Right.
which does seem to be the case. But once the Yo Magic commercial comes in and literally says like, when I'm hungry, I feed on Yo Magic or I eat Yo Magic. It makes me think that okay, well somebody is feeding off of Wanda's magic,
Yeah.
right? And based on her basement layout, it does look like it could be far more closer inclined intertwined with Mephisto rather than Nightmare. Because I was initially leaning towards maybe Nightmare because of the Doctor Strange connections and this going into Doctor Strange 2. Granted, Mephisto has Doctor Strange connections too, but like Nightmare was already kind of rumored to be the big bad for Doctor Strange 2, kind of prior to all this stuff happening. So I don't know if they're sticking with that or not, but that's what Derrickson was going to do when he was still attached. So like Nightmare made sense to me, but her basement layout definitely looks more like a demon playground.
It really
Mephisto
does.
being a demon kind of makes sense.
I mean, what if could they be together?
I imagine she would work for Mephisto
Yeah.
or work with Mephisto.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Because she had that book, which we don't know what that book is, but they made a point to show us the book. Like, could it be a book that was taken from one of the Sanctum Sanctorums? Could it be, like a lot of people thought it maybe was the Darkhold from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's a completely different looking book. So
That's
if
what
it
I
is,
read about.
yeah, if it's the Darkhold, then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not exist because Kevin Feige already kind of considers that to not exist anyway because he had nothing to do with it. But if this is his version of the Darkhold, then all that stuff's completely separate. If that's what they're going to say, if this is the Darkhold. So I don't know. But the book has to do something. It was glowing with energy. And then I brought up to you guys like the hex. Before Wanda came out of the hex, it was like that bluish purple color,
Mhm.
right? And then when Wanda went back in the hex after throwing the guns up on everybody, she hit it and it turned red. Wanda's powers are red,
Well, it stayed red.
and it stayed red. But Agatha's powers, as we saw, they are like they're a bluish purple color.
It's not working.
Oh, it's gone again? How
Yeah.
weird. Oh wait, is this hold
Wrong
on.
tab.
Yeah, it's the wrong tab. Hold on. It's in a different browser. Here. Let me just
It
pull
makes
up
me
my
think that they really do have software that's like keeping you from screen
Well,
capping.
it's weird because remember when I tried to pull it up before and it was just all black? That was in
Yeah.
Firefox. And so I pulled it up in Chrome and it actually loaded the website. But then Chrome isn't playing the video on stream, but Firefox was actually now it's loading the video and plays it on stream. So it's kind of like a win-win. But either way, her powers are Agatha's powers are shown to be like a bluish purple color. So there's another conflicting thing with that though, because that kind of my initial theory was okay, well maybe she was behind the construction of the hex and she was the one holding it together because it was like hers it kind of matches her colors, more so than it, like when Wanda goes back in it's red, but it was blue before. But once this Agatha all the time thing happens,
Catchy song, by the way.
yeah, but it looks like
It was blowing up Twitter today.
Yeah.
People were demon, yeah.
When she pops in, it looks like, at least the way this scene is established and the little like jingle comes on, it looks like she inserts herself into WandaVision. You know what I mean? Like she comes into frame. So
It definitely looks purple though. Not
it
blue.
does.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It does. It looks like it was already here and she came into it,
Yeah.
not that she created it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a conflicting thing. Like the barrier used to be a more similar color to her magic,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it looks like she came into it. So it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to say. Like I don't know. It's why was it blue before though? It doesn't make any
That
sense
doesn't
for it to
make
be
any
blue.
sense.
Like even if her powers are purple, that's fine. Wanda's are red, so like it doesn't make any sense for it to be blue at all. It made more sense for it to be red. Like, and they were making a point when they showed like the drones getting shot out of it, and they were wheeling the drone in into the sword headquarters, like the base that they had set up. It's glowing red. Everything in there is affected by red magic that was coming out because Wanda's magic is red. So why was the hex originally blue? No one's asking that question, but I am. God damn it! Something don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Don't make no sense.
But the hex, the barrier, could have been put up by somebody else as a way to keep Wanda in. But then Wanda could have constructed everything inside of the hex.
Well, yeah, but like, who would be? But she could go
Maybe-
in and out. She wasn't being kept in. She walked right out of that
I
barrier.
really don't get why it's switched
You know what I mean? Like,
colors. Like it
she
doesn't.
was able to go out. She knew the barrier was there. She expanded the barrier when Vision was outside. Like, it doesn't seem like she was being held in there by anybody.
She wants to be in there.
Yeah, like she definitely wants.
That's
to be
her
in there.
reality.
Yeah. And that's why I still think that this may have all started. And I think I came up with this. I haven't heard anybody say this online. So I think this may have all started because she used her powers on herself, and that's how her powers evolved. Because you know how she made all the Avengers hallucinate that shit in Age of Ultron. That was her power, right? They made them see things. I think maybe she was doing that on herself to see things other than reality, because like in her reality she had nothing. Vision was dead, Pietro's dead, she lost everything, whatever. So she's using her powers on herself, but while she's in that dreamlike state, her powers were manifesting and the shit became reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I think happened. So heard that here first. And I've said it before in the past on a different freaking episode of this too. So it's a thing. But I haven't heard anybody else thinking that, and like that's what has always made the most logical sense to me, is like she's grieving, and that's the thing about it. If you could literally make people see things, essentially, wouldn't you do that to yourself if you didn't want to be awake anymore? Like you don't want to be living right now.
You want to create your like dream reality of what
Yeah.
you want to be happening.
Right, and she can literally do that. So why would she not do that?
I wish I could do that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would like to do that, for sure. But yeah, this cave setup, definitely. Here's the book. So like, it looks completely different than like, and it's glowing in red, which is another weird thing. Like, so like, that's another thing too. It's like, well, maybe, I don't really know. I don't know what we can think about the colors of things, but like, I feel like they have to mean something. Or maybe the book is absorbing her magic, Wanda's magic.
Like
Maybe
feeding off the magic,
maybe the
yeah.
book is doing it. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. Do you guys think you think Mephisto's like a part of this at this point?
I don't really know. I don't know much about Mephisto, but
Well, they
John,
got all these things, like these little like demon heads. Like there's a couple of them throughout here.
Yeah.
In here, Mephisto's essentially just a demon. Like he's referred to as Satan a lot of the times
I like
in
his
the
name.
comics, but he's just like a
Mephisto.
demon dude. Like imagine someone who lives in hell. Like,
Yeah.
it's a realm that is like hell.
That's Mephisto.
Yeah, but he's just like a demon.
This is Mephisto.
Yeah, this is Kit Fisto and Mephisto. But yeah, I think the cave looks more like a Mephisto thing more so than a nightmare thing. I don't know though.
I wouldn't be a good.
I could see it being a nightmare thing, but I just don't think Agatha's doing this alone for fun. I feel like she has a greater purpose. Like, and I feel like maybe it's the classic Mephisto's locked in like another realm. They're feeding off the energy to bring Mephisto out of like, his realm, and the book's doing that. They're using Wanda as a vessel to bring in the energy, and then boom, the doors open and it's hell on earth now, and Mephisto wins. It would make more sense for it to be Nightmare to tie into Doctor Strange, in my opinion, though. That's just me. Because Nightmare.
If Nightmare's the primary villain in the new Doctor Strange movie, do you really want him? Again, do you want to lose? Do you want WandaVision to steal the thunder of that villain?
No, because it would depend on, because she's in Doctor Strange as well, so the story is going to continue. So if it's because it's just this big, I'm looking at it like it's this big arc that's being set up, right? So if in Doctor Strange 2, when it comes out, like he has to save Wanda or stop Wanda, right? Like one of the two. Like Wanda's going to be the bad guy, or Mephisto or Nightmare is going to like take her and like be using her, like because right now she's able to roam free and like do this, and they're feeding off her and fine and dandy. But obviously things aren't working out as well as they were before, and that's why Agatha revealed herself. My guess, like, so maybe at this point they want her to keep doing what she's doing so they can feed off her, and like I don't know. But Nightmare makes more sense to me as far as the multiverse of madness goes, because I feel like you can play a little bit more with the Nightmare realm being able to exist in multiple realities as one realm. You know what I mean? Kind of like the realm between in realms works with the whole nexus of all realities. Like the Nightmare realm could very well be a realm that is linear throughout the multiverse, because it's a nightmare. Like, you know what I mean? So like I just feel like it would make more sense for them to like kind of do an adaptation with that, because then like it would make sense for Nightmare to be able to traverse to these different multiverses and see the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and see all these things, because they exist in the Nightmare realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to like Mephisto, it's more of like a hellish kind of realm. I don't know the full details of it, but it seems more like it'd be localized to that one place.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a. I feel like the villains being introducing the multiverse in that way, like, just seems convoluted. I don't know, to me at least. Like,
it very well could be.
Why are you like establish? Like, they did a good job. They did such a good job in Spider-Man: Far From Home of introducing the concept of there are different realities. There are just different realities out there. Like, to say that you have to enter the Nightmare realm to get from one to the other, or
no, not that you have
Nightmare
to
is
get
or that even that Nightmare's realm exists is a tether that ties them all together, and he bounces back and forth between them because it's just I feel
that's more your description was far more convoluted and confusing. It's just the Nightmare realm is one realm in the multiverse, and it's all connected to it. Not like it's all bound to it. It's just the Nightmare realm itself is one realm. You know what I mean? Because there's multiple multiverses. Like there's a bunch of multiverses, but there's one Nightmare realm. So like he has the ability, and all the beings within the Nightmare realm could go and traverse all forms of multiverse shit. You know what I mean? Because the Nightmare realm is tied to all of them, as opposed to like you have Earth 616 and Earth 9284, and like that's fucking convoluted. Like that's hard to remember. This is just one thing that exists between them all. It simplifies things if they were to go that route. You know what I mean? So if you have 97,000 different Earths, there's still one Nightmare realm. That's it. You know what I mean? So like that would be like a way for Nightmare to be able to introduce weird elements.
But that's
like
the only thing
Quicksilver.
that ties those. Like, is there one? Is there another? Is there a, for lack of a better way to put it, is there a heaven realm that ties them all together? That's the opposite of the Nightmare realm. Like,
it doesn't tie anything together though. It just exists in that.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm saying tie together, but I mean, like, you're saying that the nightmare realm of Earth 616 is the same as the Nightmare realm of Earth 978. The same, are there other realms that have that same property? That is there a heaven realm for 616 and a
I would
heaven
probably
realm
say
for
no, in all honesty. But if I were to be making this up, I would say no. Like I would make the Nightmare Realm to be like a uniqueness in that. Like that's what makes it unique. That's just the only thing. This is all shit coming out of my brain, and I'm not a writer. So this is just with what I'm being given in this show. It's just what's coming to my mind. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to connect everything too. I'm trying to look beyond just because the main thing is with this is there's only 2 episodes left. So like, kind of like you were saying, if this is it, it's just Agatha. It's going to be kind of disappointing. But at the same time, what more can they do? There's only like an hour left of the show. Like, even trying to just expound upon what Agatha wanted to do. That's like a whole episode. Like just trying to figure, like just telling us what she was doing, let alone, okay, there's Nightmare, there's Mephisto, like, oh yeah, and Pietro's this, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot they got to do in this very short period of time. Not to get off topic, but I wanted to, before I forget, do you guys think that they're going to have like a flashback episode so we see how this all started?
I would hope so. I want some sort of explanation.
Because theoretically, that would be this next one. Because the finale would have to be the finale. Like they wouldn't do the flashback thing then.
Well, I mean, even if it's just a scene that's a flashback, like a quick flashback, just showing like this is how it started.
Yeah, like
they have to explain it at some point.
Yeah. I think they probably will show something that explains how it all started, even if it's just given to us in the form of Agatha giving exposition and then the scene plays.
Yeah,
like something like that. I think that there's going to be like at least like a good 5 to 10 minutes of explaino as to, okay, this is how it all happened, and now we're here. Like, I could totally.
That's what I'm saying. Like something quick.
See, that's I'm part of me is afraid that that's what the whole Agatha song was about, like, or the Agnes song was about. That was their. This is what's been going on the whole time, and it really didn't make a lot of sense. Like,
it didn't make.
Why did she wake Herb up? Like when they were standing at the wall, why did she have him talking to Vision, but yet not actually tell Vision anything? Why did she have him, what is it, trimming the concrete wall? Like the little things that happened in here. I understand that this was showcasing her using her powers and influencing stuff,
but why?
The why of it is completely absent and missing.
And it's also too, it's given in the context of scenes where it's not just in the grand scheme of things why. It's like literally, why are you doing this thing right here? Like, exactly. What purpose did this serve? It's like when it goes to the scene where she is the director for like where does it go?
Oh, when they're doing like the confessional
thing.
And...
When they're doing this, we heard the boom guy or somebody talk, and it wasn't Agatha's voice, because they said like, don't you think you deserve it? Whatever. Like that wasn't Agatha. That was some random guy. So it's like this wasn't even a thing.
But what if there's some sort of hex though that made it seem like it was some random guy from Wanda's standpoint, but in all reality, it was Agatha all along?
I don't know, maybe if that's what they're making it seem like, if Agatha is literally creating everything and like has like maybe how I said that maybe this all happened because Wanda used her power on her, maybe Agatha just did it to her.
Do you think,
because they did have that shot where she puts her in the trance, which is the same kind of trance that she put the Avengers in. It's just with her color instead of red. What were you saying?
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you think that this is? This never even occurred to me until you brought up the part where she said, don't you think you deserve it? Do you think Agatha is somehow related to the incident in Civil War where
Sokovia?
Sokovia, yeah.
Civil War in Lagos.
Was it Lagos? Yeah, where Scarlet Witch lost her hold on the bomb, and she ended up resolving. Like, do you think Agatha is
Lagos is in South Africa though, so I don't know if she would have any ties to that. Not that she
What would you
couldn't.
say?
It's just Lagos is in South Africa, so I just don't know if
Yeah.
she would have any. Because if it's Agatha Harkness, she's supposed to date back to the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, she's a surviving.
But I'm just
Yeah.
sure.
This
I'm
is
just trying
weird.
to figure out like she could still date back, but maybe her daughter or her great granddaughter or
Yeah, I
whatever
don't know.
lived in there at the time. I'm just trying to rationalize, figure out what from Wanda's past that
They could
how
make her
don't
mom.
you think you deserve it has to, there has to be some justification for that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they could honestly because that's the thing with the Agatha Harkness character. She's never been like a major play. She's been a part of some like major storylines, but like there were times where she was been like a friend to Wanda. She's like a babysitter at times. Like literally, like she's not like this big like Thanos level thing that we know who Thanos is. Like they could really adapt her in any way. They could say that
Yeah.
she's her birth mom, for all we know. Like,
True.
and then the other thing is like she has a son in the comics in some iterations. So people are thinking too, like, okay, well, is maybe Evan Peters just her son, who like is supposedly a villain? Like, I don't know. And that's the thing too with Quicksilver in quotes, Pietro here, Evan Peters, is he just some random guy that was already in the Hex, just like a regular human being that Agatha just used a spell on to make him go and act like Pietro, and that's why he looks like that?
That would be logical, I think.
Or even because I took it a step further on stream even and suggested that maybe like she has the ability as a witch to maybe commune with the dead and actually inserted like the spirit of Aaron Taylor Johnson into that Pietro, and that's why he was like, yeah, I know I look different, like whatever, like
Yeah.
and he still has his powers and all that
conscious
stuff.
of
I
that,
don't know.
yeah.
Like who
This
the
is
hell
going to be
knows?
this is, and again, I think I said this maybe on stream or maybe in a past episode, but it's going to be such a it's such a weird casting decision to pull the same actor that played the same or not pull the same actor, yeah, that played the same character in a different franchise and cast them as a version of that character in your like this is like they could have accomplished all of what you're saying if he truly is just a person that they implanted the memories of Pietro in and whatever. Like they could have accomplished that with any actor on the planet. Like out of all the actors and all the people to go get the one from the Fox franchise that they just got the rights to, that they know everybody is waiting on to come
But that's
in.
why you do it. It's
Sure. I understand the idea behind it. I'm just saying, like, it feels like you're playing with fire at that point, and it feels like you're intentionally jerking the audience around by doing that. Like,
I know what you mean. Like for sure. The only caveat I feel is with it is like most people out there didn't even know Evan Peters played Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Because no one watched those movies.
I didn't.
If it was Hugh Jackman coming in as like a random character in WandaVision, people would be pretty pissed off. Like, like you're gonna bring Hugh Jackman in and he's not Logan kind of thing, but like he's like there to be Logan. Like people would be mad about that, I think. Or like Charles Xavier, like they wheel one of them in and it's like, oh no, it's not really him. People be upset about that.
Now,
but I get it. I'm upset about it.
Now, I think what would be cool, and they don't have to introduce the MCU version of mutants into this, and they could get away with explaining it, would be if Agatha, or if there's somebody else that's working with Agatha, if they tapped into the Nexus and reached out for a Pietro, an idea of Pietro, and that's the one they came across, even though it has no connection to the MCU universe, even if it has no whatever, bearing on this particular story, but that's the version of it that they created to torment Wanda with. That might be kind of cool. Like, but I still think at this point, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, most common person doesn't know that, and that's great. Like, I had to explain to Tracy who that person was, but I get that point of it, but you also have to realize like your core audience, the people who got you to where you are the comic book people. Like the people that's the people who started going to these movies. That's the people who made Iron Man 1 the success it was. And I just think jerking them around by trying something like that and have it have no bearing on the show is it's a tricky thing to pull off.
I agree. I would honestly go towards the camp of like I think I said like if it's not the Fox Pietro, like it's kind of a dirty thing. Like it's kind of it's
Yeah.
like an underhanded like way to like troll people.
That's
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
hopefully it's
Yeah.
not just that though.
You know, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm leaning ever more towards it having zero to do with Evan Peters at all. Like I'm literally at this point would almost lean more towards like he was just a random guy there that she put a spell on.
Right.
Like, and it's like it
It
was
has
just
nothing to
an-
do with Pietro.
Yeah, and it was just an Easter egg that they got Evan Peters to come in and do it. Like that's like I'm leaning more towards that at this point than I am any correlation to him being a Quicksilver in any aspect. Like other than the spell Agatha has on him. It could be anything though. Like the Nexus is there. It could be her son, and they're just messing with her, and and that's why he looks like that. Like just because that's just what her son.
And it's just a
looks
nod
like.
Easter egg to the other
Yeah,
franchise.
like that's kind of what I'm leaning towards now is that he was literally there for an Easter egg. Like I don't know though. It's who's to say? Charles Xavier could come wheeling in the last frame and just like fix everything for everybody. Like you never know. Like I mean, he can set up barriers in people's minds. He could help Wanda. You know, he could help put up the barriers in her mind to make her stop doing
That'd be
this
the
crazy
Luke
shit.
Skywalker like reveal.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean that's the thing. That's still supposedly out there. You know what I mean? Like it's still a thing. There's still supposed to be someone out there that Paul Bettany has always wanted to work with to come in and make a cameo appearance. And like
Patrick Stewart.
people are thinking Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
Like I thought, because Al Pacino, obviously people think are leaning more towards Mephisto. I'm assuming given his correlation to the Devil's Advocate, because he played the devil. I still thought it would have been cool and would have made sense for what Paul Bettany said is if they did the engineer thing as Blue Marvel, and it was like Denzel Washington. Pretty sure anybody wants to work with Denzel. So if he were to come in and cameo and be the Blue Marvel, just to be, because that's the thing, if it's only Blue Marvel, it kind of fits what you want the engineer to be, which is nobody, because not many people know who Blue Marvel is, and they would never have to do anything else with the Blue Marvel character, because they could just say like, yeah, but he's Denzel Washington, you know,
Right.
like if we ever wanted him, we got Denzel like to come in and play Blue Marvel, like it's a character who's super powerful, who they would never really need. They have to use with one of the best actors in the world. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking it could be that still if they do the engineer thing. Denzel Blue Marvel. That would fit Paul Bettany's actor book. But I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I
The
don't
next
know.
2 episodes will be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know where they're going with it. That's kind of the beauty of the show though in a lot of ways is they answer questions and then they leave you with more questions.
Right.
And like I'm totally with you, John. Though that this one, I think Rick, you kind of felt the same way too. Though it was kind of like, it was almost like a whimper of sorts. Like I loved the episode.
Yeah, it was a good
but
episod.
It was just like
It ended really abruptly though.
Yeah, it's
and
like that's the thing, dude.
left you with a lot of
these
questions.
episodes are too short.
They really are.
I hate it.
Did you know? So this one was the longest one so far, right?
I
it
think
seemed
it was like
really
38
short to
minutes
me.
or something.
38 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, 38.
But I
37
mean,
minutes.
they have quite a few credits. I mean,
I was
Yeah,
gonna say, really,
exactly. Like the
30
credits
minutes.
start at. Well, hold on, because technically speaking, the initial credits start here when you go into Vision's eye. That was at 30 minutes exactly. Then you have your post-credit scene with Snooper's gonna snoop 2 minutes later.
Snooper's gonna snoop.
mhm.
So yeah, it's like it was like 31 minutes long. If you want to include like, well, I'll round up for them. 31 minutes. I don't know. I just think these episodes are too short.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't like I've said it before. It doesn't need to be an hour, 45 minutes, 40 minutes. it's like right when we get into this like reveal,
Yeah, but
come back next week.
Do you
Goes,
really
"Nah."
want them stuffing filler in here? Like, I mean, if this is the story that they have
No,
to
I just
tell,
want it
like,
to
I don't
be
want them
6
just.
episodes instead of 9. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just tell the story. They just end so abruptly. Like, and I know if they wrote it to do this, then fine. It wouldn't make sense just to like tack on the next 15 minutes. But
Yeah.
I would prefer a 40-minute episode, a 45-minute episode, something along those lines. Because it's like when you sit down to watch like a premium show, it's always been the hour-long format, and then your sitcoms, which worked for the sitcom parts of this, those were 22 minutes long without commercials.
Yeah.
Your dramas and stuff are always 40 to 45 minutes without commercials. This is how it's always been. And then you had Game
And
of
this is
Thrones
right
that
in
would
the
be like
middle of there.
50. Well, this is only 31 minutes.
So it's right in the middle. I mean, you got 40, 44
Oh, yeah,
for
it's kind
one,
of in the middle.
22
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
other. So this is dead smack in the middle of those.
yeah.
I don't know. I personally don't notice the length at all. Like I get they hook me in. I'm invested in the story within the first couple minutes of the show, and then
Yeah.
when it ends. Like I don't notice the fact that I have been watching it for a while or I have not been watching it for a while. Like the breaks work in terms they put them for me. They obviously this one the reveal that it was Agatha all along happens and then you break. It's the classic kind of cliffhanger-ish ending to a story.
No, yeah, it definitely. I tell you what, they've done a really good job with pacing.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good freeze here.
It's a good
Bam.
one.
We got it for everybody right there. You're puckering up. That was good. They do a great job with pacing though. Even though it's a 31-minute thing and you get a shit ton of information thrown at you, it flows really well. Every episode is flowing. And Mandalorian was the same way. And I felt the same way. I feel like they're too short. Like it needs to just 10 more minutes. Just let it roll
Yeah.
out for 10 more. Like I want more of it to begin with. Like, so you know what I mean? Like,
How many more
but it's
days
not
or weeks of filming is that though?
for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Not days and weeks at all. It's 10 minutes of time.
Yeah, but I mean, all that goes into that, and
It depends on the scene. If it's a continuation of like the scene that it ends on, it's just
Oh, then
10
no.
more minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just depends on the setup, really. Like how many camera angles you got to change, how many more crew people you got to bring in. 10 minutes over time in different areas. Yeah, that could be a day's worth of work, but especially on the Mandalorian, it's like you just boot up the volume and you just go do whatever the hell you want. Like,
right.
it must be great working there. Like, that'd be awesome. But what you guys got anything else? And I think I covered everything that I had with this episode. I don't know where they're going with it. Like
I just thought the final, like the after credit scene was. I'm interested to see. I thought ending on the Agnes, it was Agatha all along. It was odd that this was where they chose to throw a mid-credit scene, and it was odd that this was the mid-credit scene that they chose to show. Like, it seemed kind of. I mean, if the Agatha reveal was anticlimactic, the post-credit scene was even more anticlimactic.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I was when you said
Supergirl-
those.
Is that just to remind everybody that Pietro still exists in this world? Like, I just was like,
I was expecting more out of that scene.
yeah.
I definitely, for me, this was overall the weakest episode of the series so far. And I'm a little concerned that the series is going to end with a whimper rather than a bang because I loved it so much. And like, I'm hoping that the next episode ratchets up the stakes and the reveals and the story a little bit.
Yeah, because with that, I totally agree in the sense that we have that one clip of like Wanda and Vision, and it could have been cut in a different way, but Vision says like, "Well, then let's fight for it." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is our world. It seems like they could very well, especially with the Agatha all along thing, be setting up your just classic, the good guys win, and that's it.
Right.
And I was really hoping for the show was setting up, like at least had the potential to set up some like really original stuff with like you watch the like the freaking origin of a supervillain. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Wanda in the end just loses her shit, and
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that kind of thing, and that's what leads into the rest. That's kind of like what the show was kind of laid out to be, and like
And then
now it
and
seems like
then
maybe not.
and then you set the stage, or you set the world for, or the story beats for Wanda's a redemption arc for Wanda later on down
Mhm.
the road in the MCU somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe you have her be that, that you have her be the Darth Vader, of the MCU, the good guy that went bad, that is bad for a little bit and then has to be redeemed somehow. Like, if it ends up just being Agatha, it'll be a fun, cool story. I'll still probably like it. But again, because it's played out over 9 episodes, because I've had a week in between each episode to kind of come up with my own thoughts on what's going on, what I'd like to see happen, because I've heard other people say, well, like, what ideas they have of what's going on. You've really given plenty of time for people to build up their own ideas and stories that you may not be able to match at the end.
Mm-hmm. Which is really like kind of the blessing and the curse of doing the week by week thing, right? Because then
Yeah.
it leaves everybody out there. It gives the show enough time to breathe and build up a huge audience and stuff, but then it leaves your audience with kind of a lot of their own time to formulate and get attached to their own theories. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then which will just inevitably, because everyone's human, it'll lead to disappointment, for
Yeah.
a lot of people. Like, and not that it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. Like, it's not like Matt Shackman's fault or Jackie. Can't remember her last name. Jack. I can't remember the showrunner of the show. Her name's Jack something. I forget what it is. And then Matt Shackman's been the director of every episode. But it's not like their fault that everyone else, like, it's like the fucking the aerospace engineer thing. It ain't their fault that everyone else made a big deal about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that's on us for being like, no, this has got to be something. Like, this is something. Like,
Yeah.
no, they did their thing, and like even with this, like if this is a story they were wanting to tell, like this is it. It's really on us if we're like, well, that didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. Like, I don't know. I'm with you, and I'm gonna try to just. I'll like it for what it is, as long as I like it in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I kind of agree. This one was like, I don't really necessarily know if it would. I would maybe say it was the weakest, but it was the only one that made me just go, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, like all the other ones, I was left with intrigue. I didn't leave with intrigue for this one. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I don't know.
That's how it was for me.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I liked it. I hope they stick the landing. This kind of show, it could always go the way of Lost and like does not hit that landing,
Don't put that bad Mojo Jojo on it.
That's what I'm saying. But it's the same kind of show though. It's got that overarching mystery to it. And then when you get to the reveal, you're like, huh, okay, I just wasted 6 years of my life. Like, or whatever, however many seasons that had. So you guys got anything else? I think that covers it for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Good deal. Rick, where can everybody find you online?
Follow me on Instagram, SirRickMetz, RIKMETZ. Post all kinds of random stuff. See pictures of my dog.
What kind of dog is that?
German Shepherd.
German
Big boy. Big 120-pound German Shepherd.
Do you ever post pictures of your cat?
You know, it's funny. I actually took some pictures of my cat before I came over, but not usually because I can't get good pictures of her. She's
Oh, really?
always moving and fidgeting and this and that. And it's like every time I get a frame, it's just like motion blur.
Yeah.
So
That's how a lot of cats are. Mine are like,
you
they're
just look like
crazy as
regal.
hell. But yeah, most of the time,
They just sit there like
they got the best life, dude. They literally spend, I mean, all cats do this. They sleep on average for 18 hours a day. My cats, I think sleep for like 20, 22.
mine too, man.
Like, they're always asleep. Like, if they're not up and eating and running around chasing each other and wrestling, they're just sleeping.
Yeah, that's how my
Like,
cats
that's
are.
literally it.
I love cats.
They got the best life, dude. I love to be able to turn into a cat and just sleep for 22
Right.
hours, too. That'd be
Right.
great. John, where can everybody find you online?
I'm over on the Twitters and the Instagrams, and I think Facebook. Yeah, Nightwing_K. So check it out.
There it is. You can follow me simply at Sir Rob Bifo. And don't forget to like, subscribe, all that sorts of fun stuff. Check us out every Friday. We do a live stream. We play video games, do freaking Hot Toys previews or unboxings. We just did the Bespin Leia. By the time you're watching this, that exact clip from the stream will be up on the channel, so you can watch the Bespin Leia preview, the Hot Toys preview video of unboxing it. That'll be up, so you can go check that out. And then I got obviously got the review. That'll be up Wednesday of the Bespin Leia. Then I got the Solo Darth Maul and the Commander Cody. What else do I got? I think that's it down there. I think those are the only 3 I got sitting
I'm
right
trying
now.
to see. Yeah.
I think those are it. I think that's all I got because I got the Phantom Menace Small already up. Yeah. So I got those 3 Hot Toys reviews coming up. I got another one that's in the mail. Well, it'll be here soon. But then I got that mask coming in. I'll probably do a review of that. I got my robes coming in. I'll probably do a review of that. My Jedi cosplay thing going on. Share that with you. I think it'll look pretty good for what it is. I think it'll look pretty good. But guys, don't forget again, you can submit topics and questions to the show by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's it for us. Until next time, guys, take care.